Party people, what's going on? It's Samaj Marsh. I'm the founder of BlueDeathValley.com, and I want to welcome you guys back to a somber, disappointing, tough episode of Blue Death After Dark. The day after 2002 season came to an end yesterday in Bowling Springs, North Carolina, in the Big South Championship game. Oh man, we got a lot to dissect, and this is gonna be one of those shows that are driven by the fans. We know we got a lot of people, we got a lot of comments and opinions about a lot of stuff, not just the game, but you know we end our actual official stay in the Big South Conference. Now all sports are going to be official members of the Colonial Athletic Association, the CAA. So the theme of tonight is, where do we go from here, right? We're losing. We're saying goodbye to 14 seniors and graduates. A lot of those guys just, laid it all on the line and played their hearts out. We also had some interesting comments on social media this week with the marching band, and they were unable to make the trip down to Bowling Springs. And that was a topic of discussion. We had a little controversy there. But we're going to talk about all that stuff, and we want to invite you guys into the fold tonight. I'm about to put the link out there in a second. First of all, let me bring in my two co-hosts, former wide receiver and a Greensboro native. He was down in Bowie Springs. Doug Brown. What's going on, Doug?
Thank you, Pride. What's up, guys?
How you feeling, man?
Better.
Better. Okay. You at peace now?
Still processing things, but hey, I've learned to come to accept the things that I cannot change. So over the last decade, I've managed to I've learned to manage in the season. I always hate, when it's a guy's last game out there. So seniors and anybody else that's hanging it up, it's always a rough patch for me. So that's aside from the loss, but hey, the sun rises on the next day, right? You get up and you start all over. So I'm okay.
All right. So Doug's all right. And then of course, oh man, my right-hand man, longtime insider, beat writer on BlueDeathValley.com for over 2 decades, the current president of the Greensboro chapter of the AAF, and he led a bus trip down to Gardner-Webb on Saturday. He put that all together, and I really appreciate him for his efforts. The brains of the operation, Mr. President, Craig Turner. What's going on, Craig?
Oh, not much, man. Aggie Pride. Yesterday was tough, but
yep.
Yeah. That's you have days. Some days you get the bear, other days the bear gets you. We got yesterday.
Yeah. We were not mystical that day, so we lost that bear fight. But we're gonna talk about it. But check out here, guys. Here's the format. We're gonna open up the lines to you guys. We're gonna bring in guests pretty early. If you are a female who wants to join the show, we're gonna automatically bump you to the front of the line. Okay. Also, if you are a member of the marching band or affiliated with the marching band, or use a real diehard band head, we want to bring you to the front too and hear your thoughts. We gotta say this has been a crazy whirlwind of a week, especially last 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It was manic and a lot to digest and dissect. Final score. What was the final score, Craig? I can't even. What was it? 37-14?
38-17.
38-17. So we did kick that field goal. Yeah, Money Brown got one through the uprights.
Money. The season money.
Yeah. And you know what was so painful about that game? It's like I'm racking my brain because I was like, I can see us win, I can see us losing, but I didn't see us losing like that, right? And Michael Irvin, Dallas Cowboy Hall of Fame wide receiver, he had this famous quote. He says, if I want to beat an opponent, I will attack their weaknesses, right? But if I want to break an opponent's will, I'm going to attack their strengths. And to me, that seemed like what Gardner-Webb did. I think at some point they dominated the line of scrimmage. You know, they beat us to a point of attack. They definitely won the running game. They won the kicking game. Special teams, I think they played better. And overall, you know, I think they did chicken a lot better than we did. And I didn't see that coming. You know, if in a million days I didn't see them doing chicken better than us. So
Well, it's kind of like I told you the other on our last show.
yeah.
Gardner Webb was a quality football team.
Yes,
and
they
I
are.
did not. I told you then I did not see a blowout coming. I think a lot of people had A&T, probably winning that
Right.
thing fairly easily, and I just didn't see it. I figured the game was going to be close, and for the most part, it was until it started out as a back and forth contest, and but the turnovers, I can't emphasize this enough.
Yeah.
Turnovers killed us, took us completely out of our game plan, and we never recovered from it. It put us in such a hole. We were doing some things. We were doing some things. We had to get away from what we like to do best in order just to try to keep pace. And it's just steamrolls after that. Once you're forced into playing behind your ball control team, you're forced to be playing behind instead of playing even.
Yeah.
Against a quality football team, it wasn't meant to be.
Hey, Doug, you know what? Some games, you play 60 minutes, right? So something good happened. What do you say? Keep playing. Something bad happened. So you got opportunities, but some games seem a lot longer than others. Like Central, that game, that was like a short game to me. Like we got behind. We had some turnovers. They scored. We chased the points the whole time, and you look up, and it's like we only get the ball like 3 possessions in the whole second half. That game kind of flew by. And I was like, man, we could play them again. We could finally get started. And then you say like homecoming. Homecoming's like the longest game in the world. Like that game felt like it was like 10 hours. That first quarter felt like 2 hours because we were scoring, they were scoring, and we were getting stuff done, but we could, and then that's like a long game. This game on Saturday, the first half seemed really long. Like we had like a lot of opportunities, and then the second half, it's like what happened? Like as soon as we went 3 and out or had a turnover, it was like, man, it's already fourth quarter. And I was panicking, and it felt like the team was kind of pressing too. Did you get that sense?
I don't know if they were panicking. I mean, I think the team knew that they could go back and come back and make plays just like they did on homecoming and get back in the game. You always hear me say it was just a 2-score ball game. I think we were down 16 or so. But when they got the ball back and scored so quickly, and I think they scored in under 2 minutes and most of their scoring drives, when they scored so quickly, that kind of put some pressure on us. And, the difference in the 2-ball games is like them scoring quickly and us having the ball and having those opportunities. I mean, just not really being able to get much started. But, hey, once after they scored quickly in the beginning of the third quarter, the next couple of drives, they slowed it down a little bit. And so that clock was running because they would take a little more time to clock to run the play, and they were getting the play off with
being able
seconds.
to run the ball, they're a quick strike offense.
Right.
But,
I mean, those guys ended up, I think, leading the Big South and points scored, and they gave up the least amount of points in the Big South. So they're a good ball club, right? Like Craig said, on offense and defense. Senior laden team, especially at the skill positions, quarterback, receivers, and along the D-line, they were talented. They did some things to disrupt what we were trying to do, and I don't think it was a matter of us getting out coached or getting outplayed. We played hard. There were some spurts where I thought we played harder than we played all year long. I mean, D-line, those guys got after it up front. You can't fault those guys for being aggressive and getting upfield, but Harold, your guy Sinister Six, Mr. McDaniel, Henry Daniels, you guys had some violent. I mean, you can make a highlight tape just off the pressures and the sacks those guys had yesterday, right? Those guys really had some great plays, and but they presented some challenges for us, and they hit it at some right times. And we talked about them having that ability to call some good plays and make some plays. We had times when we were in some good positions to make some plays, and we said it all year. It comes down to playmaking, right? We had a chance to catch a pass here or there, or hold on to a football and make an interception here or there, and those are game changing plays, and when they present themselves, you got to kind of take advantage of them. When you don't, it comes back to bite you. And we'll get into some of the officiating later, which that's
No,
something
no, we don't talk about that.
But,
We don't talk about that. We got, this depends on how long
but in terms of
guys,
making plays,
yeah.
right? We you say you didn't see that game coming, and that's just the way the ball bounces. I mean, it was a crazy Saturday all across the board in college football, and it was kind of that feeling when they got that call with the ball being down at the one, and a play later, we turned the ball over, and a play after that they were in the end zone. Those are big momentum swings, and it's one thing to kind of take those blows when you're a ball club, when you're a young ball club, but it's also hard to try to bounce back from those. You can talk about it and kind of prepare for it, and we talked about that last week, like just being able to play through it and knowing that you're not going to get any calls, but when it happens and you really feel like you're done wrong, it's tough to kind of stay in the moment and still stay true. But we had some good times out there, guys. I mean, there were some bright spots where Aggie Nation was in perfect harmony, and I don't know if you guys saw that clip from when I think we were swag surfing, and the team was swag surfing, and coach was down there. Like, to me, that'll be the lasting memory of my picture, my memory of the team, of seeing those guys smiling, having a good time in the conference championship game. Although they didn't pull it out, to get to that point, and we'll talk about that later as well, man. But to get to that point and see those guys down there happy and smiling, celebrating, making plays at that point in the game, we just took the lead, and it was back and forth. Shows we were supposed to be there, and that we were ready for the moment. We were prepared, guys. Things didn't go our way. So
let me bring in our first guest tonight, Dave.
What's up, man?
Dave,
What's up?
What's going on, man? So, are you better now? Because I'm still, man. Like, I'm listening to Doug, and he's trying to, talk me off the ledge. But
I lost a bet, bro. So I've already paid my debt to society. I'm done. I had to give money to FAMU Athletics yesterday. So.
Oh Lord, you really, damn boy. So what would happen? Man. What would happen if you would have won? What was the?
They would have had to give money to Aggie Athletics. That was the bet.
Okay, so I got you.
Would have to give to the opposing team.
Okay.
So
it's for a good cause though. They need it. They need a lot more than we do. So that's good. Some good charity.
They finally got an AD, man. Give them some credit. They finally got an AD. They might not have a coach in about a week or two, but they finally got an AD.
How long do you think they gonna get her? Because they had a good one they had a good AD with Courtney, and they ran him out of there. So hopefully this young lady was.
I think she's gonna stick around a while as long as they give her the help, man. I think
help.
She's gonna be in it. I'm just curious to see what's gonna happen because I know there's talks about Willie Simmons having a shot at the South Florida job though. So we'll see. And now that they didn't make the playoffs, he's a little bit more available now.
Willie.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. All right, so you watched the game, Dave. Did you come away optimistic or I guess concerned about the future after something like that? Because we going to the CAA next year.
I know. I'm happy about how far the team went, considering they started 0-3. They could have easily just decided, all right, this is the season. Yeah. And they won, and they ended up winning 7 out of the last 8. So I can't be mad at them from that regard. It would have been great to close out the Big South and take a title away from them. Like, we're leaving the Big South. They're going to have a new name next year. It would have been pretty cool to have the last conference title. Yeah. But, the turnovers, man, were killer.
Actually, you know what? The CAA is going to have a new name, too. They're supposed to change their name.
They are.
Yeah.
They are going to have a new name.
So yeah.
But yeah, we know who probably pushed it hard. We know who probably pushed it harder than anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can drop that Cologne. I'm good with that.
Get out of there.
Because the other HBCU wanted to go to the CAA. They were fine with the name, so we know who pushed that over anybody else.
It shows forward thinking, though. I like it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what? And Dave, you mentioned turnovers, right? But I gotta be honest, man. You can't ask for a better start than what we had. I mean, it wasn't like the turnovers were one-sided. They gave up in their first 3 possessions. They gave us an interception and a fumble, right? So and they missed a field goal, in that first quarter. They didn't play a clean game. I just think they stayed true to their identity a lot longer and consistently than we did.
I agree there, but I think there were some moments in the game where I kind of was like, "Oh man, this is not good." Like the moment where we got the sack and they thought that it was an incomplete pass.
Oh god!
And we had defenders just sitting there, and then Gaither just picked the ball up and ran it for another 20, 30 yards. Like
I tell you the first moment that we can back it up. The first moment where I felt like, oh, this isn't good, is when I walked in and one wasn't dressed out. All right,
that part too.
Prunty.
That part too, because I was like looking around for him, and I was like, "Oh my God, he must not have played. He must not be." Dressed.
Jimmys and Joes, guys. The X's and O's matter, but the Jimmys and the Joes might be more important. You gotta have certain personnel out there.
Doug and Dave and Craig, that should tell you don't try to glean any information from social media, because he posted something early in the week. He was like, these guys all got these the emojis or whatever. He posted something like, oh, this might be, if I can read into it, he might be saying something, but he wasn't saying nothing. He was not clear to play.
He was just enjoying social media like we do.
Yeah, right. And he was in street clothes on that Saturday.
Well, that's definitely not a decision that'll be made early in the week. So
yeah, I guess he tried his best to get through
the. And that thing is too, Gardner Webb knew it too, right? Because they aimed at certain corners throughout the entire game.
Well, I mean, you got to think. Okay, Prunty was not there. McNeil, I guess whatever injury he had, they never spoke on his injury. And I'm not expecting us to be like a Power 5 school and have an actual injury report, whatever. But geez Louise, when somebody just is a starter and they don't play for like 6 games in a row, that should at least be some. And it's my fault, because if I asked the question in the press conference,
you gotta ask.
He would have told me. But geez, if you see that the only person who asks those type of questions forgets to ask, y'all should at least want to, for the kids' sake, just say, hey, this guy might be missing a couple games. I don't know. I don't like the way we handle that type of stuff.
I'll argue. I'm not mad at Coach, because then it's the media's job to ask the questions. And I'm not trying to knock you, Samaj. It's just in general.
But I'm
just saying, like, as a whole, like, one thing that I've learned is that, because I'm not, like, when I do my podcast, we don't have media passes. So we're dependent on some of the folks that we know that actually do have media passes
to ask those questions
to the Panthers.
Yeah.
So, like, but if you don't ask those questions, you're not going to get the answer. Or even if you get a fluff answer, but if if nobody asks the question, you're not going to know. And with FCS, man, they don't exactly have to tell you what they're doing.
Yeah, they don't, and they won't. They don't, and they won't.
Why would I? Why would I?
Yeah.
Why would I display information?
Why would I?
If you ask, maybe I'll tell you. Just like when they asked him whether he preferred the Celebration Bowl or the playoffs, he answered that. So.
No. Trust me, Dave. You got to come down for a press conference one time. If there's anything in your mind that you want to ask Coach Washington, he'll answer. Like that. I have not seen him be like.
I've watched him. I watch the press conference every Monday, and I'm like, yeah, he will answer anything.
And sometimes you can see that filter like working, and like he overrides it. Like, no, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like he's probably thinking, I probably need not, because I don't think he wanted. I honestly don't think he wanted to tell that Fowler had the hairline fracture.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think he wanted to say that.
No, he did.
And I called him at the right time, and I didn't know he was going to say that, because I was just saying, why did Hooker start against Charleston Southern? I just want to know why. And he said because Fowler is dealing with a broken foot. So I was like, oh, okay, that is information. And then the whole week after that, the whole game week, they didn't mention anything about a broken foot. So I think they was like, we should have kind of reeled that in. But it is what it is. You know what, Craig?
He had a pretty good game considering, man. He played his heart out. I got to give him credit.
Sure
Craig, when I knew this was going to be a rough morning, a rough day, Saturday, I'm on my way to the game was played in Boiling Springs, right? And Dave, guess where I watched the game at?
At your house?
In Greensboro, North Carolina, right? So, hey, Dave, after causing a firestorm on Twitter about the Marching Machine not being in attendance, I'm ready. I'm ready to head out to the stadium. I was gonna go on a solo creep, come straight there, straight back. And my wife, she has to, she's a realtor. She had to go to work that Saturday, and she left. And then I get a call about 10 minutes, like the car's acting funny. So I got, make a long story short, I spent like the first 2 hours at the mechanic, and I had to end up taking her to work. So I stayed. I didn't get a chance to go to the game. Right, I had to watch it on my phone for the first half, then we got back to the house. So that was when I knew things were kind of going to get fishy. And then I tell you when we answered so we scored the 7 on the first series of the game. They come out, kick field goal. We stop them. They miss another field goal. So we was like the whole first quarter 7-3. Then second quarter they finally get that big pass, and we respond with the Tootin run. Right. When we go up 14-10, the sideline's crazy. We got all the energy. I was like, you know what? This is what we want. We want a back and forth knockdown fight. And when they responded right then and there, and they went back down the field for a long scoring drive led by their running game, that's how I said, oh, these guys are for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like even before the game, I said it's going to come down to the trenches. I felt like it was going to come down to trench play. If we could impose our will on the lines, we would win this game. But they did it to us, man. Like, their run game was ridiculous, considering how good our run defense has been all season. Yeah. They were able to run on us at will, man. And it was just hard to watch. But like I said, the moment was when we got the quarterback, when we got Fisher, we thought it was an incomplete pass, and we didn't go on the ball. And Najee and Gaither picked the joint up and ran it for like 20, 30 yards.
Yep.
So, hey, Craig, let me ask you this, Craig, because you watched it, you was up close and personal. Did they seem faster than us? Like as a team, did they seem faster than we were? Because that's how it looked.
It was even.
It was about even.
Speed.
Okay.
It was about even speed. The difference in the game was their execution. They executed to perfection. They had a great game plan. Like I told you last week, they were going to spread us out, create lanes to run in, and they did exactly that, and they executed it perfectly. And that you put that on top of the 3 turnovers that give up 17 points. That's ball game. I mean, that's it. You 17 points out of turnovers off a 38 point output. You basically got an even game, but you cannot play. You cannot. So it's not a question of anybody being better than somebody else.
Yeah.
But they didn't make the mistakes that we made, and they made the plays, and we didn't. They made more plays than us, and we lost, and they came out on top. It's just that simple. I mean, people were talking about, well, the coach didn't do this, coach didn't do that, blah blah blah. We didn't make adjustments. Yeah, we made adjustments, but the thing is that we shot ourselves in the foot. We shot ourselves with inopportune penalties. We would go and pick up 8-9 yards on a play. Next play, motion. So now instead of being 2nd and 2, we've gone back now. We're 2nd and 7 or 8 yards. So we just we're losing. We're always playing behind the sticks, and it's self-imposed.
But you know what though, Craig?
It is what it is.
Craig, you know something though. This is what worries me. So you say that, we had penalties, whatever. If we played this team like best out of 3, I don't know if we beat them 2 out of 3. I just think that they might be a better team, just the way they're constituted. I think their receivers are better than us, right? I think they're running. I think Tootin's the best running back out there, but I think their running game.
Yeah, like Gaither's legit though. People forget.
Gaither's legit.
Gaither's good.
Gaither's legit.
Their line, what they do as far as open up holes,
it's their scheme.
Yeah,
I told you that Trey Lamb was an offensive guru. I told you that when they hired him.
Yeah,
Gardner Webb was gonna get good real quick because the guy knows offense. He knows how to. He's like Lincoln Riley out of Southern California.
Yeah.
The guys know offense, and he can devise an offense that is incredibly hard to defend against 100%. They can hit you 4, 5, 6 different ways. They stretch you out. Again, they spread you out. Like Doug was telling you last week, They take those wide receivers and put them all the way out past the numbers. Everything's wide, and there's no middle help, and that's what they do, and that's what they do, and they execute. They execute. I love their execution because there was no substitute for it.
They executed that game.
All right, guys. All right, so guys, just give me one word answer here. Okay, who had the better offensive line Saturday? Who? No, not Saturday. Who has the better? If you just have to look at it, who has the better offensive line?
I think we have the better offensive line. Who played better or who had the tougher matchup? I mean, you look at the work our defensive line did against our offensive line. I mean, I don't know how many sacks we had, Craig, but we had a lot of violent sacks when we got back there, and our speed just killed them. And we overpowered them sometime with our strength. But they had moments where their defensive line blew us up, or their linebacker came in and got the better of us. So, I mean, you can say who had the better day or who,
Yeah. I mean, it's based on
our
what we
offensive
saw.
line didn't go against their offensive line, so you gotta go against.
But you can look at certain players and you can see what they accomplished. Okay, so how about this?
Well, I think the other thing you got to think about too. I think we're underestimating the type of schedule that Gardner Webb played this
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Like Gardner Webb, I think everybody, and this is just not just us. It was pretty much everybody. Everybody was focused on Campbell.
Yeah,
a team that's never had a winning season. So everybody was like stuck on Campbell and not paying attention to the type of schedule that Gardner Webb had. They almost beat 2 FBS teams and almost beat a top 25 FCS team.
Had them on the ropes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Had them on the
they
ropes.
played some crucial games against some tough competition. So that they're battle tested. They kind of ran through the Big South just like we did until we ran into each other.
All right, who had the better kicking game?
Field goals, I'm taking Brown. Punting, man. If that goes down to special teams for me.
Right. So, okay. So I'll say definitely got a better kicker. I think the punter might have. Yeah. But I think Brickhouse kind of had a rough day.
He had a rough day.
Well, he was punting into the wind.
Coverage too.
And he had one block. Yeah, I don't know if
he had 2 blocks.
I gotta look at it.
He had 2 blocks.
Yeah, 2 blocks. I don't know if one was slow or what, but I know he rolled out on one, so I guess it's probably protection. All right, quarterback play. Who you taking, Fowler or Fisher?
Sorry, I love Fowler. But I'm taking Fisher.
Okay. Yeah. Wide receivers. Come on, that's a tough one, right?
Close.
And wide receivers.
I think the ones are close. Well, you think that Gardner Webb got a better wide receiver? I like Zach Leslie, man.
Zach Leslie, but I didn't see his supporting cast step up.
After everybody else, but Leslie had a good game.
Listen, the reason why we had those fumbles, guys, are because you saw Leslie off the rip. He caught the ball and was heading to the box. He scored. And
Leslie was a man.
That goes off in your head. That, oh man, we about to make plays on these guys. And our guys caught the ball and tried to score every time they caught it, right? And that's where the fumble comes from, when you're not protecting the football, when you're trying to get the extra yard or make a play. It's not even trying to get extra yard. Them guys trying to make a play, but we're not playing the same caliber guys we were playing 2 or 3 weeks ago. Those guys are going for the football and trying to dislodge the football, and they're coming with bad intentions. And what really stood out to me when I went back and looked at the film, because I don't just look at the fumble, I look at how it was created, time and space. But man, every time that ball was on the ground, it looked like it did for our first time when they fumbled. Right when they put the ball on the ground, we had 11 hats to the ball. We were excited to get there. I'm talking about the first drive for us, but when we had put the ball on the ground, and those guys were flying around, and you'd have thought it was $1 million on the ground the way they flowed to the football. And I said it before, we cannot get caught watching the guy that has the football in his hands. And there were a few times when we weren't in position to maybe fall on the loose ball. So they made those plays. They got those turnovers. They flew around. We weren't able to do it as consistent as they did.
Who had the better DBs? Who had the better secondary?
Well, in this game, they played better than we did across the board. We made some plays, but what do you think, Dave?
It's hard to say that, but
play, man, and that's the fact. Without Prunty, man, that was a big one.
Yeah.
Duck around out there. That was a big one, man.
I mean, you got to go. I think you got to give it to their whole unit. I think the guy that got that pick wasn't. I think he was the outside linebacker.
Aaron, hey, look, Aaron Harris had a pick. Aaron Harris had a pick. That was big.
Yeah,
Aaron had a big day.
Langley should have had a pick. That could probably been a pick six.
Sumter made some plays. They attacked, went after Sumter, and he held his own. Guys, we made more plays than we gave up. I mean, it feels like we were getting beat up all afternoon.
Yeah,
we made a lot of plays in that game, and unfortunately, we didn't make them at the right time. We didn't make some at the right time, but hey, you got to give our guys some credit. They played hard.
I think we were definitely better at defensive line. I like our defensive line a lot better than I like theirs, right? But now here's the question. This is the hard one. Okay, who had the better linebackers?
Us.
I'll take our unit hands down. I'll take our guys.
Okay, because I guys are having a hard time getting off blocks. I know Roberts made that fumble recovery, and then he was kind of quiet. And I'm not sure how many tackles King had, but I know he had a lot. It's of course their scheme, but they were getting to the second level for our linebackers, and we weren't really doing a great job of shaking it and making getting our nose in there. But oh boy, like I say, I do have to admit that I was I don't want to say I underestimated Gardner Webb. I didn't think they were that fast. Like they were flying around.
I think the fan base as a whole did. I'm gonna be honest, man. I think we were so locked on Campbell, man. We underestimated Gardner Webb. I don't think we had the realization about how good Gardner Webb was until we looked up and noticed that hey, they're 4-2.
And we saw the games they lost. We were like, dang, y'all lost to an FBS team by 1. Y'all lost to this team by 1.
Yeah, then you're like, oh yeah, they actually might be good.
Yeah,
this probably isn't like Bryant or Campbell or Charleston Southern.
Yeah. All right.
We underestimated them, man. I think the fan base definitely did. I don't think the coaches did, and I don't think the players did. But I think the base did. The fans did. To the point that we needed a band there.
You almost made me choke, man. Hold on a second. So, all right,
go into that.
It's a good segue, right? I'm here. I'm here to help.
So thank you for Dave for setting that wildfire off. We'll probably have to go into that in a second. So Dave, so you're gonna join us next week. We're gonna try to help. For as a programming alert, we're gonna have our season finale. Inside the Valley, the last show 2022 next Wednesday. We're going to have the illustrious Blue Death Player of the Year award, and we're also going to name this is a big one now. We're going to name the BlueDeathValley.com Poster of the Year. So that's you definitely want to come back and check that one out. This is going to be a big show next week. Right. So yeah, all right, man. So. Thanks for joining us, man. I see your Panthers had a rough one, but y'all still in the running for that first round draft pick, right? That's what y'all hoping for.
I don't know what we're gonna do with that first round pick, man.
Yeah.
I know they want a quarterback, but I'm questioning the options that we got, to be honest with you.
Hey, by the way, prayers out to our first family of A&T, the Hooker family.
Yeah, man. That's tough.
It was announced tonight that Hendon is out for the year with a torn ACL right before the Heisman voting was supposed to go down. I don't know how that's going to affect him. Oh man, but he was everything for that program. And when he limped off, I was like, that don't look good. And then
they had him up in the draft saying that he was going to probably be the third quarterback taken too. That might change now.
Yeah, gosh, man. You talking about a bad day?
You ain't kidding.
Man.
You talk about the fact, because a lot of folks had him as number 3, but now with the injury, he's probably going to fall a bit. But I'm going to be honest, I'm sitting there like, okay, maybe Carolina takes him in the second.
Let's go. That's what I'm hoping too.
Okay, things might work out for. Yeah.
Come on now,
because I am not a fan of the guys at the top like that, like most. I think the only guy I like is Richardson. I like Richardson a lot. But he's gonna probably shoot up the boards now because I think a lot of folks are starting to figure out Richardson right now. I think Richardson probably has the most upside in this draft from a quarterback standpoint.
Okay, we'll look into that, and then we'll hopefully talk to you next week, man. But thank you so much, man. And
all right,
keep hope alive. Aggie Pride, bro.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.
That's Dave, man. big time Panthers fan. He does his own podcast. Y'all can check him out. Let me bring in Aggie 94. Aggie 94, you down in Boy Springs Saturday? You get a chance to make it?
I was there, man. Evening gentleman, Aggie Prime. Yeah, we were in the house, and I really don't have a lot to say because I mean you guys have pretty much covered it. But just the post and everything, I think we're all over the place. But to say that our coaches didn't have our guys prepared is just wrong, in my opinion. I think Doug said it best. We didn't make the plays. And what it came down to was their guys were ready for the moment, and we weren't. That's just it.
All right, so gentlemen, let me ask y'all, all you guys a question. How would you describe the current water level of this bottle? How would you describe it? What would you say it's at the halfway mark? How would you 94? What's the water level in your perspective, your world? What's that water level look like to you?
Half full.
Half full. Okay. So A&T finished the year 7-4, right? It was a 2-game positive over last year, 2-game improvement over last year. Bounced back from a 0-3 start. Had that 7-game winning streak, and had a winner take all game on Saturday, right?
I'm gonna clap for that 7-game win streak. Right. Because some people don't win 7 games in a season. So if you win 7 straight games in a football season, you're doing something right.
Hey, that was a group of Aggies that we interviewed some of them who didn't win 7 games in their whole tenure here at A&T. Okay, that 2007 bunch, they would have died to have 7 games. So winning the football games are not easy, right? However, when you look at the fine print, okay, we won 7 games. There was not one team in that 7 that finished the season with a winning record. We played 4 teams that had winning records.
That doesn't have anything to do with it, really.
I understand.
You can't control what other teams do on the field. So it's an irrelevant point.
It's an irrelevant point. We beat the teams that we were supposed to beat. I mean, that means we're doing what we're supposed to do.
I understand, but I understand. But the 4 teams that we played that had a winning record, we lost to all of them by double digits. So we have 4 teams on our schedule that finished 2022 for winning record, and we lost to all of them by double digits.
So all of those 4, one is a Power 5. We already talked about that, and the other 3 are still playing football, right? Central's playing in the postseason, and the other 2 teams are playing in the postseason, right? They're top 25 ball clubs, right? I mean,
and Duke will be playing in the postseason. They will be going to a bowl game as well.
Yeah.
Let's be real about it. And I know you're looking half full, half. That's just what it is. You cannot take yesterday and let that be the end all be all for the season and how you judge the team. Because going in before yesterday, if we asked you these questions, that bottle would be more than halfway full. You were feeling great. You were feeling overflowing, right? Now, I see you. Now, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. How you feeling today? Compare that to how you felt this time last year when we were having this show.
Oh, my Lord.
The web game. Right? And the questions you posed last December about what was Coach going to do? Is he on the hot seat?
Yes.
Could we replace the guys that we ended up losing? Not only did we replace those guys, we discovered success. Like, we had success with the replacement guys, and we built what we would consider a better culture, right? We didn't have a bunch of infighting going on this year. Coach talked about sharing the love and how the team love one another. Like, some of the things we needed to accomplish in this year, if we'd have said this is where we're going to be, at the end of last year, if we'd have said we're going to be sitting in the conference championship game next year and a few quarters away from coming home with a ring, you'd have signed up for that. However it took to get there, you would have signed up for that, right?
Yeah.
All right.
okay, so let's go back. So glass half full, right? Last year this time we lost to Gardner Webb, and we had. Let me see if I got this right. It don't even sound right. Jeez, man. We had 12 penalties for 144 yards in that game. Right? This year, we lose to Gardner Webb, and we only had, where are we at?
5. We had 5 penalties.
5 penalties for 46 yards.
If I had the penalty sheet right now,
5 penalties for 46 yards. So there you go.
This is what I would do if I had the penalties right now. The sheet with all the penalties. I'd pick it up and tear it up, because I can tell you one thing, and I ain't gonna get on my official rant because thank goodness.
No, you need to, because we talked about it the entire first half. I want you to talk about the holding show that Gardner Webb put on.
Listen,
throughout the game, but please talk about that.
Well, I know this thing, and we all know us well. Any football game where it is not but one penalty call on us, or a game we're playing in the first half, something's wrong, because we're gonna have more than one penalty alone on our end. Okay, so there's no penalties being called. So I'm looking around something crazy, because we're supposed to have at least 1 to 3 penalties in the first quarter. All right. That didn't happen.
They got together and they said, we're going to let these guys have a knockdown, drag-out fight, especially when the ball's in the air. They didn't call pass interference at all.
They didn't. And I'm okay with that if that's, your
It was equal. It was equal, because they could have got something there a couple times. He ran to a couple of receivers in the end zone.
I am a play-by-play basis guy. I don't believe in, we're going to let them play today, because that sets a tone and a mentality of how you're going to call the ball game. Yeah. Trust your eyes and do what you've been doing and calling what you've been calling as a crew. It's up to the players to adjust how you call the ball game. So when you come out and do something totally different, all the players know is this has been pass interference all year long, or this has been a hold all year long. And there were plenty of plays when I looked up and we were yanking and tugging guys and they were holding guys. And I'm like, listen, when you don't make those calls in these games, it affects the outcome of the game more so than making calls, right? You can make a bunch of calls and I can say, hey, man, they're calling this today, and then the coach can go back and say, they are calling holding today, guys. You cannot hold. And then guys adjust. When you look up there and they're free-falling and you don't know what's going on, because there were times, man, I'm like, man, you got to throw a flag. You have to throw a flag. And so in the second half, even the first, I think, illegal false start penalty, we got one. Tootin was playing the, what do you call it, Wildcat, so he was getting a direct snap. So sometimes the cadence is a little different. I don't know if we were going on silent or if we were going on Tootin's call or whatever. So, you'll see the tackles move a little early. Everybody moved a little early except for the center a little bit. Snap was a tad bit late, but they got a little more touchy in the second half. So consistent, make good calls, make good sound calls. I had to get my officiating friend on the phone and really talk about that punt into the end zone.
Okay, explain that to me, because I thought if your momentum takes you into the end zone, then that's when they wave their hand back and forth and they get you on the ball on the 20-yard line. What's the rule that you heard?
According to the rule, you have to establish possession of the football prior to crossing the plane. So in the official's eyes, and whatever he had going on, he deemed that the guy had established possession of the football prior to him running to the end zone. Now, most guys will make an effort to try to keep the ball out of the end zone. That's what you see on Sundays. That's what you see in like every level of football you can think of. This guy was running to the end zone like he was covering a kickoff or something. He's running full speed, and I just think he grabbed the ball because he was in position to grab the ball, because it bounced up and he grabbed the ball. He didn't look like he was trying to even establish possession or show possession, right? Give me a Tony.
Takes a deeper drop. He's punted twice.
So there you go. So, and guys, tell me if this is blurry, because sometimes I'll be having these videos and then I look at the show and it's like all blurry, and I'm like, I ain't know that. So is that clear for you guys? Can you see that pretty good?
Yeah, I think it has enough time to buff.
It looks good.
Okay, but
okay.
Yeah. Give me a Tony toe tap. Give me something that shows you're trying to establish possession before you go in. I don't think I've ever seen a guy run straight in the end zone with the ball and then give him that call. inside the 1 yard line. I mean, inches, right?
By the way, man, I like this pooch kick. I don't know if Fowler can do that. I hope Brick Handler, whoever's going to be the quarterback next year, can. Actually, I need somebody to train my son how to do that. Brick House, if you're still in town, man, shoot me a DM. I might have some NIL money for you. I need somebody to teach my 15-year-old how to do some pooch kicking. So
this guy was second in the conference in punting last year.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that stat. Yeah. So let me see if I can run this. Is it running?
He does boot it away, and this is a beauty. Lands at the 10. And they can't save it from going into the end zone. Right before this previous stoppage, quick kick from Bailey Fisher, and it is down at the 1 yard line. He had possession.
You guys buying that?
No. My officiating buddy also said that he's not going to be ticky-tacky with that one unless the guy just really shows that he established possession. He said if it's close, especially running that fast and full speed into the end zone, that generally, I mean, even Gardner-Webb's defense, they were heading out to the 20. No one thought that ball was going to be spotted on the 1 foot line, but this 1 inch line, but this guy who made the call. So,
all right, so let me try to run this, and you tell me if, I mean, and you kind of felt that this was about to happen. When we were on that 1 inch line, you kind of sense like, oh, man. But I like the play call. We didn't just hand the ball off to 2 and 3 times at punt. We came out here with a little bootleg thing, and Fowler actually made a decent pass here.
Possession after capitalizing on a fumble on the first play from scrimmage. 33 yards later, a touchdown. 1st and 10 at their own goal line. Jalen Fowler has a receiver, and the ball's out. The ball comes out, and Gardner-Webb is on it.
Then you take it away. A&T getting it out wide again. I believe that's Leslie. No, not Leslie. Fumbling the
Sterling
football.
Burkhalter.
You guys see it okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was crucial because we had just done the same thing in them. we go up 7-0 and we get a good stop on that first drive, and then they say that pooch punt. They get credit with stopping on the 1 yard line. On our first play after the change of possession, we coughed the ball up. And Burkhalter, he's had a great year. He's been making plays for us. You got to have better ball security right there. You can't. I know you want to get that first down or get close to it, but you can't just start making moves with your arms separate from your body. You got what they tell you, Doug. You got to cover how many points? How many was it? 5 points on the football?
5 points.
And
we preach that, and one thing you guys can say is, we're up 7-0 so far. Things are looking good. We don't look like we're not prepared for this game.
Yeah.
That play literally came down to protecting the football. And how many times have we heard Coach Washington get on here and say, we got to protect the football, right? And I know we do. Yeah. We protect the football in practice. Like, we do those drills. So, that's football, though, guys. The guy was trying to make a play. He just saw his fellow wide receiver catch the ball and get north and south and get in the box. So as another receiver, you're thinking, hey, when I get the rock, I might go 99 right here. So he was trying to make a play, and Sterling's although he's a JUCO kid in the transfer, he's still a young guy too, right? And he's getting some valuable experience, and he had a great year. But I'm sure if he had that one back, he'd have 2 hands on the football and protect it a little bit better. So
keeping in mind though, even after that, our defense held strong and held until field goal at that time. So even at that point, game. I mean, during the course of the game, we just didn't make plays. And
I think that's a good way to sum it up, because there were championship plays to be made, and we didn't make enough of them. And like I keep saying, Gardner-Webb did not play a clean game, especially in the first half. That first quarter, they had 2 turnovers, right? They threw a bad interception on 3rd down. They coughed the ball up on that first play from scrimmage in the game, on their first drive. That's not what you want to do, especially when you got that type of vibe on the opposite side of the field. If we go up by 2 scores, even for field goal. If we go by 10, 10-0, that's going to be a really different thing for them. They never really got behind the 8 ball too much. They were down 7-0. Then right then they were 7-3.
You got some folks thinking that we played Ohio State yesterday, and that just wasn't the case. Now, a good team, they are a good team, and as Craig said earlier, I mean, they executed. They did what they did better than what we do yesterday.
Exactly.
And that's the bottom line.
How did you feel that we responded in the second half? Did you feel like we showed the normal fight that we normally show on those type of moments?
We did. I mean, and one thing I'm proud of, so going back to your analogy, whether half full or half empty, our guys never quit yesterday. I mean, they never did. I mean, we played hard. I mean, but I will say this. I mean, and some of us were talking about, we want to get some penalties and we want some of that edge and everything. But the stuff that we fussed about periodically throughout the year reared its ugly head yesterday too. I mean, that dumb, and you just have to call it dumb. That dumb penalty that we got, dead ball foul.
We pushed the guy in the dirt.
Yeah. That was inexcusable.
You know what it is? It's like situational awareness. Like, okay, you can get away with that stuff if you play in South Carolina State and you up by 3 touchdowns and whatever. That's the kind of stuff that we'll criticize you for on Inside the Valley that next week, but it's not going to cost you a championship. I just think like you got to have a sixth sense. Like, man, this is a championship moment. All that dumb stuff has got to go. I can't get my lick back. I cannot get my lick back. My team needs me to win this game. I can't get my lick back. Okay.
And the other thing too with the they called it a fumble. I think his arm was going forward, but when Bailey Fisher got hit and the guy picks it up and advances the ball, the reality of the situation was we needed to be playing until the whistle. We didn't hear the whistle. We didn't go after the ball. That was a game-changing play right there. That could have changed the tide.
What threw me off is this is not what Coach Washington teams normally do. Like we one thing you say about us, maybe outside of North Dakota State, we play hard to the whistle. I think we kind of mentally, emotionally tapped out a little bit in the second half of North Dakota State. For whatever, people might argue with me, but we kind of hit the quit button on that, right? But every game since then, we gave Duke everything they want in that second half. And a lot of that was, Brick Handler was like, I'm just going to showcase. I don't care what the score is. I'm going to show you who I am. But we were flying around. That's when Graves got in the game, scored a touchdown. Not Graves. Charlie Dixon got in there. Yeah. And I just didn't – like I say, once we got behind the 8 ball in the third quarter, especially going to the fourth, I was like, yeah, this ain't going to be our day. And I don't know if we, maybe – like I keep harping on, Craig, where was that trick play? Last year, Garner Webb was down and out. They were dead to rights. And then your guru head coach, he called a double pass and they get a new
line. We had the running back. We had a trick play called, and that was the play that we had the false start on. Tootin was getting ready to roll out and
think so?
Getting ready to pass it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, but I mean that's with if and all that stuff, and my aunts, my uncle, and all that kind of.
But
whatever they say,
the ball up, ready to throw the football. So I mean, that's you just asked for where the trick play was. I told you where the trick play was.
Okay, so. All right, okay. So I'm saying, if I know my season's in the balance, okay, I don't have a whole bunch of cool plays left on my play sheet. I'm throwing everything. I'm throwing the kitchen sink at this bad boy, hoping to spark, especially in the fourth quarter. We're down 17 points or whatever it was. I was like, okay, we gotta get the momentum. We gotta get a couple turnovers here, but we gotta score quick. Let's just do something that they haven't, game plan for. I felt like we just kind of like, let's just get out of here. This game is out of wine. I don't know. Man. That was just me watching the film. That's what it looked like. But
can I pontificate on that for a minute?
Please.
And I realized that after the game yesterday, coming back and just kind of processing.
Yeah.
Barnett for the entire season, well, up until from South Carolina State on, Barnett didn't have his full playbook with him because of what he wants to do. And it has to do with the fact that Jalen can't do some of the things that he wants to do with the RPO game. And that would have helped us yesterday.
You know what? That might be a good point because we saw a glimpse of that in Duke. We saw Brick Handler rolling out and just, throwing on the run, and it seemed like we made the defense cover all 53 and a half yards of that field in that third, fourth quarter of Duke. And that might be something to look forward to next year. Hey, next year, the people's champ.
Well, you got him, you got Purcell, you got Yeager, but if you look at who we brought in to play that position, what's the common thread of those three, guys? They're mobile.
They can all run. Yeah, they can all run.
Craig, call it right now. Who's the starting quarterback first game of the season for A&T next year?
I don't know. I'll have to get through recruiting before I can tell you
that.
I had to look at recruiting. I have to look at recruiting in spring ball before I tell you that.
So we gonna bring a
I can tell you. I can probably tell you after spring ball.
Okay.
Look, because you would have got it wrong. You'd have got it wrong if you guessed this year.
I said, I would have.
Yeah, you said what? Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, so look, last before we let you go, 94. Have you heard any of these rumblings about Zach Yeager might be not long for the blue and gold? Have you been hearing some scuttlebutt about something like that?
No more than what's been on the forum. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. One with it just depends. I mean, it really does. I mean, but it doesn't help that we brought the Purcell kid in too. We'll just have to see.
That's weird. Yeah.
We'll just have to see how it plays out. I mean, I actually feel better about the quarterback position going into next year. On
the roster right now, we got Brick Handler's going to be a freshman because he didn't burn his red shirt. Hooker's going to be a sophomore. Yeager's going to be a sophomore, and I guess this Purcell kid is going to still be a freshman, right?
He should be a redshirt freshman next year.
So we got 2 freshmen and 2 sophomores on a 4 deep in the quarterback room, and that's a lot. That's if you the guy who doesn't win that job, you might not see a pathway to the field.
Somebody's transferring. I will say this though, somebody's going to be transferring.
Yeah, it's going to be. I can't say for sure. I just know.
I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I
hope I'm wrong. Let me be clear. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It will. When you start talking about transfers, you'll just need to look. You'll have a better idea of what you're going to have after recruiting is done, because we don't know exactly what we're recruiting, who we're recruiting, whether we recruit another quarterback or not. My guess is that we probably will bring in one quarterback. We usually do. And depending on who that is, I think if you do see a transfer, it'll be after spring ball. It won't be before then. It'll be after spring ball. There's going to have to be the guys are going to have to compete for the job. If they transfer, they transfer. There's nothing you can do about it. If the guy doesn't want, if the guy feels like he's better off someplace else, he's gonna get on the field someplace else. So be it. I want the guy who's going to be able to lead this team and make the plays. Come next September, come Labor Day weekend, we need to have an established quarterback. We got to have a guy that we have confidence in that can run the show, and a better than average backup behind him. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. If he goes, he goes. It's kind of like the old Rocky movie. If he dies, he dies.
God, Lord. Hold on a second. Hey, it's Doug. Does that get a Jamaican air horn for if he dies? If he transfer. Good Lord.
Listen, man.
All right. Hey.
Well, if nothing else, we've proven that you'll get a chance to play. Right? So if you're in our quarterback room, that you'll get your opportunity. And Zach's a competitor, and he likes it here. And he was the starter coming in this year, right? He got banged up. So if he likes it here, not just if he dies, he dies. But if he likes it here and wants to be a part of this culture and continue to be here, then he'll stay. And if he wants to play ball somewhere else, then he'll go. But I'm rooting for him either way.
And I'm hoping he does stay because I'm pro Jaeger. I mean, I've seen what he can do. I mean, he just had a hard way to go this year. I mean, but I think that room is crowded, and we'll just have to see how things, go. But again, I feel good about the quarterback position in general going into next year. I just hope our young guys have taken this opportunity and have grown. But I'll just, for myself, end with this. We play for championships, and we pride ourselves on playing for championships. And this year, whatever we want to say, on yesterday, we were doing just that. And we need to take heart in that. We were playing for a championship yesterday. We just didn't get it done.
Hey, before you leave, 94, I want to break some news here. You're involved. So next week will be our season-ending, finale. And we always announce the coveted BlueDeathValley.com poster of the year. Well, I want to announce that one of the finalists is yourself, Aggie 94. You have moved up the leaderboard, and you're in that running. It's gonna probably about 5 or 6 you misfits, but you're in the mix. So check us out next Wednesday. We'll be announcing the winner of the BlueDeathValley.com Poster of the Year award. And one of the finalists, we got a couple more. We'll announce that this week. The whole finalist group. One of them is Aggie 94. So good luck, man.
All right, my man.
Good luck to you.
Look, Aggie Pride, guys, and we got a basketball season to talk about this year, I guess.
Man, jeez, that was tough too. All right, we talked about it. All right,
y'all take care.
All right, good deal.
All right,
so that was 94, and we're gonna bring some guys in. So look, if anybody is from the band, we're about to talk about the band now. We're about to segue for a second and talk about the marching machine. If anybody's from the band, let me know. Raise your hand if you're T. Will. You're a band fan? You're a band person? I see you down there, T. Will. Raise your hand if you're a band person, or you just talking football. Because I know our next guest, Charles Hardy. Are you a band dude? I need to see some folks waving at me. All right. So we're gonna talk about this marching machine. Let me because T Will, if not, just hold tight. We'll bring you in a second. But we're gonna bring in our favorite guy, Maxwell. What's going on, Max?
How's it going, Aggie Pride, everybody?
Aggie Pride.
Hey,
All right, so we're gonna talk a little bit about football, but I do know you have a connection with the band community, and let's just go ahead and get into it. The 1 second, private chat here. On the football, all right. So we'll hold on for you, T. Will. Don't go nowhere. But so this week after our last Inside the Valley show, reportedly the word on the street is one of the guys from my crew. I think might have been Doug or Craig. Somebody had made a controversial post on social media on Twitter, saying. I don't know. Craig. One of us.
Now he want to pass.
I'm not sure.
I don't know who the hell he's talking about.
I gotta look at the transcript. It's 3 people, so it's not sure which one. So I can't say Doug for sure because I don't know. So I can't. So somebody from the Inside the Valley crew went on Twitter and said that they thought that the marching machine needed to be in Boiling Springs on Saturday to support the team, and more so, whoever that was felt like that should be the primary focus for the band to support, to be a support system for the football program, and then the other great stuff they do, should be have prioritized a little bit below that. You know, you want to go to the football games and support the football team first, do your other stuff. And for some reason, you know, that was akin to calling someone's newborn baby ugly. That was the reaction. That was the reaction that was reciprocated from the band community. And just observing that, I was taken aback. So I want to talk to you because you are not only a former band member, you're also somewhat of a historian. You know a lot about the start of the Marching Machine. Give me a little bit of insight. So the machine, do they look at themselves as their own self-governing entity, or do they? What is the outlook from the band community?
Well, I'm not as connected to the band community today.
Okay,
but I know that there's been a change. You know, over the years, the band has gone from being in what I would consider a strong music department, right? Yeah. And academically, things have changed. You know, band was a 3-credit class. The marching band was, and then it moved to arts and sciences, and then a year or so ago, it moved to student affairs. You know, along with intramurals and the rec center and all those kinds of things. In terms of governance.
That's governance, and I guess that's also budget. That's where they getting their funding from through those. Okay, gotcha.
The funding is coming through that channel, and it came along with when the school restructured where all the schools and departments were a few years ago. I don't know if you remember it. And so that became a part of that restructure. And I think the biggest thing is, if you talk about the funding and the support, the band has had to do a lot of the things they do every weekend, going to these band battles around the country. They went to Disney this year. They went to Houston. Yeah, those things are also fundraisers. You know, in addition to being for recruiting, those things are fundraisers for scholarships and all those things. So
who puts together that schedule? That's something like they have the authority to come up with their own travel schedule, and they say, you know, we want to go to Nashville for recruiting, you know, Battle of the Bands thing. We can do that if we want to do it. We can go ahead and do it.
The band staff does that, and sometimes things just come up. You know, they get invited to things that may not have originally been on a schedule. They may get invited to something. Right. But the thing about this game, you know, the Gardner-Webb game was on the schedule at the beginning of the year as one that the band would go to. And to me, it's just about the structures and the silos and all the things that happen at A&T, similar to, you know, the silo used to be between the business office and the ticketing office and athletics. All those things happen. You have the same kind of dynamics when you look at the pep band going to basketball games, right? So,
and I put my finger up not to stop you, but I just want to show you. It's like we got 5 different silos here, and nothing is moving in concert to you know, as a hand, as a fist. Yeah. And I gotta be honest with you. So you know, all jokes aside, I was in the middle of that whole back and forth, and on Thursday and Friday, and I tell you, man, words hurt, Maxwell. There was some mean folks. There was some mean folks.
You poked the bear.
Band folks.
Hey, Craig, that's why I want my hater blockers. He need to get him some hater blockers.
Good
too.
night.
I'm serious. Low profile.
That's it, man.
And see, and here's a fun fact. I used to live next door to Doug's sister, Tiffany. You know, and she's you know, has a spirited personality, right? But what I encountered online was like her times 10. Like these folks was like, you know, it wasn't quite death threats, but they wasn't sending me a whole bunch of you know brotherly love either. So, and the thing that took me aback, was that it was uniform, that they felt like it was a insult to say that they you know, that their whole existence, not existence, but their main purpose, that was the key word, their purpose was, to support the football team, to be there for the football team. And then when you have other opportunities, go ahead and continue to build your brand, go ahead to, extend your reach, recruit. But your main job, your main purpose is to support the football program and the team at the home games. And
when you brought Dr. Ruff's name into it, I think that's really when you poked the bear and the students showed up. Right. And I told you last week how they felt about Dr. Ruff, and some of the kids even call him Daddy Ruff, that they revere Dr. Ruff, and he is no question the leader of that program. And he's done a great job. And so everybody doesn't know where you were coming from, but once you came, they made sure they were right there to meet you at the door. So expect more of that coming from the band community.
Right.
But all jokes aside, it's a good conversation to have. It's good for everyone to see everyone else's perspective, even for the players, because the players are in this thing saying, "Hey, man, having the band at the game affects the momentum of the game." And as a player, I fully understand that. And my sister, now we had those conversations. She knows that how we both feel the energy of the band, and we know the perfect harmony and the concert of a football game and how it all works together, right? From the cheerleaders to the band to the team, like that momentum. I mean, you saw it on the sidelines. The fans stepped up and carried some of that, but generally, hell, that's how the fans should be at every home game or at every away game, whether the band's there or not. That's not the same energy we get from the fans game in and game out. So, yes, the band does affect the energy of the stands, but there's stuff we could all do better and more energy we could bring to the game. But you have to look at everybody's perspective, and everybody can give a little bit and do a little bit more. It would have been nice to have the band there. Yes, I understand the band's reasoning. But from a football standpoint, I definitely understand the football.
So Baxter, let's go to their reasoning. And you tell me what you heard and what you maybe been able to verify through your sources. So it seemed like at some point early last week before the game, there was some strategic gamemanship, as I call it, on the part of Gardner Webb. They didn't want to lose that stadium, that environment, because they know they remember 2017 when we took over. And we had that machine in the house, and it was blowing everybody, blowing the doors off, right? So they were like, "This is a big game for us. Let's try to neutralize that. Let's make it to where they are as uncomfortable as possible." So I think they first said, "Hey, we want to sell your seats. If you want to come, you can purchase a ticket for each band member at the student rate," right? Then they said, we also want to do a special show at halftime, and we're not going to have an opportunity for you to actually do your marching routine at halftime, right? So did you hear something similar to that? Is that what you heard?
Yeah. And I think that's if I was the away team or the home team, I would have done the same thing, right? Yeah. There was nothing wrong with what they did. And the other side of it is, do I think the band would have made a difference in the game? I do. I think there were points in the game where, man, I could hear the band playing. Well, let me back it up. There were times in the game where there was silence, right? Or that low crowd noise where the band could have broken that up and changed some points in the game, particularly after turnovers or other things where the band could have made a difference. I will say that going forward. I've seen it happen. So would the band have made a difference? Absolutely, the band would have made a difference.
And Doug, let me tell you this though. Like you said, you gotta listen to people, and I first of all, I'm 47 years old. I got a wife, 2 kids, job, mortgage, all that stuff, right? My passion in life is A&T, football, the university, whatever. So I'm going to talk about things I'm passionate about, and I have a strong opinion on things, and I'm going to tell you this is, I'm not a disrespectful person. I'm not disrespectful in real life. I don't try to be disrespectful online, but I believe that, that everybody that if you call yourself a supporter or a member of A&T, the whole community, then when things happen that are like big and profitable for the entire university, like a championship game, you literally need to have all hands on deck. And I understand that we all have gripes about our experiences with A&T in some capacity. I have a gripe because I've been trying to start a grassroots giving campaign for the last 3 years, and I'm getting met with nothing but wall after wall from the people I'm trying to get money to, right? So I could really get on a soapbox and talk about how I'm mad about A&T in this capacity, and I'm going to take my website and go home, right? But I understand that you're frustrated you're not getting the support or the love or the scholarship stuff that you feel like you want, and you're getting shunned here and there, and they didn't do this. But when you got to step up for the greater good, I think we need to all kind of swallow some of that ego and that pride and say, let me be a team player. And when I suggested that, right, I got met with so much. We don't even care about football. We want to go to Disney. We want to go to Rose Bowl. This is a chore. That was the word that was given to me by an assistant, somebody who, I don't know, I didn't verify his whole account, someone who claimed to be an assistant director of the Blue and Gold March Machine. And we all get heated and passionate or whatever. I don't take any umbrage or anything like that. But when we had a nice little exchange, he said that the kids, he didn't say they were burnt out, but he said the kids feel like playing in the stands for 15-second intervals, for like third down, first down, touchdown, whatever. That's a chore, right? I'm like, a chore? You're supporting your school, right? So that was a disconnect that I had. I think he agreed that was a disconnect because he felt like I was totally off base. I just didn't understand where is the lack of synergy when it comes to this is a championship game. I know you guys are mad about Dr. Chancellor Martin not giving you your scholarship money, but can we figure that out maybe in off season? Let's go to the game we've already budgeted to go to. We already had, they start throwing up all these numbers. $75,000 go to Siler City, $80,000 go to Durham, whatever, right? If it costs $40,000 to go to Bowling Springs, and you already got in the budget, you were already going to go. You already had the bus driver ready. The gas was already in thing. Why not just go there? Don't let Gardner Webb win with their Jedi mind tricks, right? Because that's all he's trying to do. And you're falling for it. It's like when I started an argument with my wife right before we got to go to a fancy restaurant. And she got mad. I ain't going. Good. I ain't have the money to go anyway, right? So hey, joke's on you. So that's what I'm saying. That's what Gardner Webb did. They were just trying
to switch.
Switch, and we fell for it because our own personal, baggage, and then some of the stuff that I heard from the band. It may, if you want to aim that stuff towards me, but when they were like, honestly, Maxwell, I'd be surprised going forward if the band shows up at any games, because it seems like it's all arbitrary. Like they might come, they might not, and nobody can tell them what to do with their schedule and their budget and their buses. If they want to come to a home game, they will. If they don't, they don't. If they want to come to a away game, they will. If they don't, they don't. There might be a band brawl 2 hours away they want to attend to, and nobody can say nothing. I was like, there's no oversight. Like Chancellor Martin can't mandate that at least the home games have to be attended. We missed one home game this year because there was a chance of rain. All right, and even though Doug Brown looked like the Fisher in I Know What You Did Last Summer, right? It didn't really rain that game. Okay, so we missed the band out of 6 games. They only performed in 5 of them, right? Because there was a chance of rain. Okay, so hey, I won't expect my marching band to be at every home game, but that wasn't the case. But we got a Big South Championship game. It's not just going to Gardner Webb for week 4. This is for all the marbles, right? The impact and the energy that a HBCU band can have for HBCU fan base and an HBCU football team, right? I just thought it was petty for them to say, you know what? No, we're not getting a chance to perform our 7-minute halftime show, right? The one we worked on. We got this 7-minute halftime show that the world needs to see so we can videotape and put it on YouTube. If we can't do that, then we're not going down to Bowling Springs. And the hell with your football team. And, you know, we don't like football anyway. It's boring to me. I look at my phone when, you know, between plays, between us playing. That's the reaction I got from the band. So,
I think your characterization of it is probably a little bit to the left or to the right, depending on what you want to say.
Maybe.
But
Maybe.
just a little bit. But no, yeah. No, you hit it early in the conversation. I think this is just me, right? I think that's the onus is upon the chancellor to pull everybody together and develop a sense of camaraderie and purpose for all of the entities that run our football enterprise.
Okay, right? So look, Maxwell, look. You got the football, the football team, right?
Yep.
Right. You got the fans, okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You got the support staff, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You got the band.
Yep.
You got the cheerleaders. And they like little piggy, right? So look, you need all of those to work on the sideline on Saturday to get this win. We have to be a family.
I get it. But who was silent? Who was silent doing all of this?
Who's always silent? Who's always silent?
Guys, we had something else the chancellor needed to attend to this week. We had that $2 million hammer to come down. Like, man, chancellor, can somebody else work that out? Like, let me handle it.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah, but the only thing on that, Doug, is that was water under the bridge that will come back around next fall.
Oh, yeah.
So as opposed to something that we needed to do and set some parameters on, like going forward. I mean, look, we're going into CAA next year, right? We're going into CAA next year. And what that says, you know, kind of segueing on the football side, every game we play is going to be like the Gardner-Webb game next year. Right. And so in that regard, all of those 5 fingers you had, Samaj, all those fingers have to be connected and work together and know where they fit, and whether it's about scheduling or whether it's about budget or whether it's about priorities or whether it's about any of that, we need to get it together.
And Maxwell, to your credit, and Doug, I'm gonna go piggyback on what you said. You know, you gotta listen to people. I don't begrudge some of the stuff. They was just, you know, some young people being stupid, but I don't begrudge a lot of the feelings that were being honestly expressed to me on those last couple of days, because those kids were hurt, man. Like they felt like they've been just run through the ringer and they didn't get what they signed up for. A lot of those kids, and I hate for anybody from A&T to have a less than great experience when they're at A&T, right? But a lot of those kids were like, you know, we got to do all this practicing. We got to go. The assistant band director was like, we've been traveling every week for the whole season. I'm like, why? First of all, that's your schedule you made up, right? Number one. But it just seems like they have been given their own fiefdom to run. And Chancellor Martin is like, listen, y'all some crazy folks. I don't want to deal with it. Just don't embarrass me. Don't beat up nobody in the scandal like FAMU, and y'all can do the hell y'all want. You know, here's your budget. I'm not giving you no more. Just go wherever you want to go. Don't let me, you know, I don't want to be, just don't be on the news. And y'all, it's like that's what his attitude was. Because if I'm Chancellor Martin on Thursday, and you know, and I see this whole crazy storm on Twitter going on, I'm picking up the phone like, hey, Dr. F, how you doing? Long time no talk. Yeah. You need to bring yourself down to Bowling Springs on Saturday, and we'll figure everything else out later. But yeah, I do need the band, and that's going to be a marquee thing for us. Yeah. I hear. Yes, I understand. Yeah, but I'll see you Saturday. Bye. And that's it. I'm the chancellor of the damn university. You my band director. I need you at this game. Okay. Where's that back and forth happening?
But that conversation should happen in August, in July. It should be a relationship that happens then. But anytime, you know, I'm not begrudging Chancellor Martin has an important job to do, but anytime the band comes up, it seems like it hits a nerve for him. Whether it's a senior drum major, it's a senior drum major talking to him, or Dr. Ruff, or a fan, or anybody, that's a problem. It just, look, I have been. Those kids work really, really hard. I know you've heard it before.
Yeah.
I'm old now, but I remember starting at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and having to practice to midnight every night. Right?
That's good.
You play your music for 2 hours, you're on the field for 3 to 4 hours, and you do that every single day. And then you travel and you get up and you do all this stuff. And sometimes it goes underappreciated in terms of what it takes to do that. And on top of that, you memorize 60 songs at least every year. 60. And you play them by heart, and you're moving and you're doing all this stuff. It is not easy. It is not. And the kids are there because they love it. The kids are there because they love it. And they love the university, and they love to have that A&T on their chest. And so I don't know that that's appreciated as much as it could be. You know what?
And I want to go ahead and definitely agree with you on that. As much as little as we probably have done, I would venture to say that we're like the premier website that supports the Blue and Gold March Machine. I challenge anyone to go find another online place where they talk and celebrate and promote and market the Blue and Gold March Machine more than the fan forum on BlueDeathValley.com. Find it. Let me know. Okay. I stand to be corrected. Right. I don't think there's a regular YouTube channel or podcast that promotes and celebrates the Blue and Gold March Machine more so than Inside the Valley and Blue Death After Dark. Let's say in the last 2 years, okay? Mm-hmm. Salute to Christy Walker, one of the godmothers of our site. She had the fifth quarter and the legendary fifth quarter website. But since then, if you want to talk about Blue and Gold March Machine, and you want to have a discussion, you're probably going to be doing it on A&T Fan Forum, okay? I love the band, right? I think that we definitely need to express to those kids how much we appreciate them. And a lot of that, money talks, right? I guess they want more money and scholarships. We need to figure out a way to advocate for that. But until then, I think we need to step in there and kind of give them a little bit of understanding of their mission statement. Because I think their vision does not quite align with other people at the university's vision of what they should be doing. Is that fair to say?
Well, look. The thing is, your actions speak louder than any of that.
Okay.
And so when you move the band around and put them in different portions of the university, right, and their oversight changes, and all of that happens, what is the subtle message surrounding any of those moves? And I think somebody mentioned it on the forum. In some institutions, the marching band is under music. In other institutions, the marching band may be under athletics from a budgeting standpoint. All of those moves have subtle messages that exist. And so those subtle messages are real in terms of what the purpose is, and are the right people displaying the purpose. If an assistant band director is saying those things to you that on Twitter, that means the messages that he's getting as a leader in the band is pretty strong in terms of what he believes the mission and the support and all those things are. I don't know what they are.
You know what the sense I got from him? But he said basically this is something I can understand wholeheartedly, right? The way he described it, he's like they're worn out, like they're exhausted, they're tired, like they want a break. And going to go on the web was going to be like another job. It wasn't going to be I'm having a fun trip down 2.5 hours to support my fellow classmates and football players. It was like, damn, I got to do this again. Mm-hmm. And when you get to that level, something has to be done, because that you don't want people to to feel that way and be totally burnt out because they're supporting A&T and they're playing their hearts out and coming up with these crazy shows and themes every week. Hey, so T Will, hold on real quick. I know BJ wants to talk about the band. Dooms, I see you down there. You want to talk about the band football? All right, so hold on. You guys hold on one second. Let me bring in BJ. T Will, you next, so don't go nowhere. BJ, real quick, what's going on, bro?
What's up, man?
Where you going to prom? Bro,
no, I just left a meeting. I had to do some work.
What that
I'm in my car. I'm in my car. I've been waiting. I've been waiting for you to get to this. So I said I'm gonna sit in my car.
You look like you came from a Ponzi scheme meeting. Why you got like a little what kind of flower? What is that in your
That's a it's called a lapel flower. BJ. You gotta get some fashion. You gotta get some fashion sense. This is a lapel flower, sir.
BJ, tell him stop taking up your time. You came on here to talk business.
Exactly. Oh, he know I'm fired up. I've been waiting for this all night.
I'm doing what Gardner Webb do. I'm getting you distracted. Not distracted. Get mad and leave, BJ, before you sue me. Get mad and take your little flower and go home. Like the band did.
I'm gonna go right to the topic because I know other people want to get on here. I don't know Mr. Maxwell, but Mr. Maxwell made a great point, and that's the point that I'm going to reach on again. You have a disconnect because the marching band program does not feel appreciated. The marching band program has not had a home on campus since the early 2000s when we had to leave Fraser because the band was too big in Fraser. Right now, we're on our second warehouse because we went to the Napa warehouse over there right near the stadium. Then something happened. We left there. Now we're at another warehouse.
Gotcha.
The band has been promised that they're going to have a facility. That facility has not come to fruition. So again, you show me your priorities by what you put money behind.
Right.
90% of those kids are doing it for the love of A&T State University. And if they are getting money, most of them are getting $500. Those kids love the school. Those kids support the school. But when you come out and say, y'all need to get y'all butts down to Gardner Webb on Saturday because y'all need to support the football team, their first thought is, well, damn, where's our support? Who's supporting us? Who cares about us? And you can bring up the travel and the trips and doing things, but they're fundraising to fund themselves. You can't question what people do when they're raising their own money. If you want control, then you need to fund it.
And BJ, that is why. Okay, I don't know if it was the glasses or whatever, but you always make a intelligent point when you come on here, right? That is a great point. And that's where I had to take a step back because I'm saying I want Chancellor Martin to reel this bad boy in, this little monster that's been getting bigger and bigger, right? But the quickest way to do that is by dishing out the pay slips. And when you pay somebody, then you can kind of control them. When you just don't want to be bothered and you just let them be and do what they want to, then you can't say so much. I understand. I'm like Maxwell. I blame the man up top.
But here's the thing. Those kids are grateful, and Doug can even tell you because we're back there tailgating together.
Right.
When those kids come out of there after the game and they walk up to the tailgate and they get food from the alums, they're more grateful and appreciative because you got to understand. They're not trying to go to the calf because guess what time the calf closes? Calf closes at 6, 7 o'clock. Some of them kids ain't gonna get a chance to go eat. But if I can get them some ribs, some chicken, a burger, a hot dog, that shows them love. You're appreciated. So if we want to change the culture or change the dynamic, maybe we need to get together and feed the band after the game. Blue Death Valley, feed the band after the game. And in that way, they can say, oh, these guys online aren't as crazy as they seem, and they're not just assholes. Excuse my language. I don't know if I can cuss. They're not just.
And you cannot.
They're not jerks on the internet just ranting about A&T they kind of really do care about us. They might want some certain things, and I'm not saying, I'm just giving out an idea. Like
I understand, and Lavelle, that's that is what's Lavelle? BJ. Oh, that's your last name,
Lavelle.
Yeah. And so my whole thing is sometimes it is you pick and choose what things you want to react to, right? Because I can remember there's been many times that our platform has championed the Blue and Gold March Machine, right? We've said they're the best thing since sliced bread. We talk about their shows and the artistry and the musicianship. There were some people who said that, oh, Norfolk State got the best of them when they came down there. And I was like, no. You know, I love that technology show. So all the praise you get heaped on, if you talk about appreciation, you can't have a deaf ear to praise and trust me, this is not something that's just unique with band members. Football players same way. I can say my guy Jalen Fowler, he threw a dime. He ran for he's a great leader. If I say Jalen Fowler threw, and I'm using him as an example because he's the opposite, right? If I say this quarterback had one interception, oh, you're a hater. You shouldn't be talking about. That's how and like I say, that's just an example. Jalen Fowler totally gets it, but some players are the same way. I could go out there and make a damn poster about this guy, jump ball you, and then if he drops the ball, then and I say he dropped the ball. Oh, you're killing me, man. Why you doing? Same with the band. We give them standing ovations. We tell them you were awesome. We go on their YouTube channel, watch all the videos, and we say, hey, by the way, can you bring that awesomeness down the Bowling Strings? Oh, you're killing me. You want me to go to the game? You're a hater. You did like
it's not sometimes in what you say, it's how you say it.
How you say it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go online and say, y'all need to get your butt down there. Chancellor Martin, you need to get this under control and you need to get a handle on your university.
But he does need to, and they did need
to.
I understand what you're saying.
You said it's not what you said.
I keep trying to save you and walk you through the door, and you just won't walk through it with me. Yeah. Just hold my hand and walk through the door with me and listen.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
If you say it a different way, hey guys, I heard you guys aren't going to Gardner Webb on Saturday. Right. What's it gonna take to get you down there? What can we do to ensure you come down there?
And BJ, you know what they would have said? Nothing. They had made up their mind before I even sent that tweet out. They were not coming, and I don't even know what the dynamic is between Chancellor Martin and Dr. Ruff to where Chancellor Martin even could make that phone call. He might not even recognize his number.
I'm gonna tell you a story, and I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna tell you a story. I can't remember the year. I want to say it was 2001. I'm gonna tell you the story.
Yeah.
We had band practice. A&T won a football game, and we had to go down. We played FAMU the next week, and we had to play FAMU, and it was a big game in the MEAC conference standings.
Right.
On Monday, back then, that was under Dr. Hodge. We watched tape on Monday to watch the field shows and pick out what we did wrong.
I like that. Breaking down
Chancellor Rennick walked into the band room on Monday afternoon during film and said, hey, Dr. Hodge, can I talk to you? They went behind a closed door. Chancellor Rennick reappeared. Chancellor Rennick got on the podium and said, hey, y'all, we got a big game down in Florida on Saturday. I'm going to get y'all down there because we hadn't budgeted to go to Florida. Now, granted, we got on Greyhound buses and took Greyhound from Greensboro, North Carolina to Tallahassee and changed in the tailgate area at Tallahassee, walked into the cafeteria, ate lunch, and then went and performed at the game, went back to the cafeteria, took them sweaty uniforms off, got back on them Greyhounds, and came right back home. But you know what the difference was?
What's that?
He came to us and said, hey, guys, we need you. Hey, guys, we want you there, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get you there and for you to come and enjoy the experience. That's not what happened on this Gardner Webb situation. I'm not going to pass the blame on who did what, when, and where. But again, it's about the approach and how you approach people, how things can get changed.
And you know what? And one thing, BJ, I'll say that I didn't take into account was that there was such a communication void that when my voice entered that void, it was like the only voice at that point.
And you gotta also understand who you are too. I ain't gonna don't let your head swell too big.
There you go.
But you are the unofficial official voice of A&T Athletics.
Man, I like that. Hey, no, my internet connection was breaking. Say that one time. My internet connection.
Oh Lord!
Oh, help us!
You ain't no living with
Help
it now.
us.
There's no
Help
living
us.
with it now.
I froze up.
Mr. Turner, did I make a mistake, Mr. Turner? I made a mistake.
Huge.
I froze up, man. No,
But seriously, people come to you. People watch your Twitter.
Yeah.
And they watch that website. And when things hit that your Twitter and your website, that is Aggie Nation talking.
And BJ, here's the deal. And Craig and Doug and Maxwell, everybody. I'm gonna say this. This is all cut the jokes out. I understand that, right? And that's like I say, great responsibility, great pressure, all that stuff, great power, great responsibility. The only things that I communicate, I'm not trying to have a persona, right? Like Born Thriller or Samaj Marsh, Blue Death Valley, whatever. I honestly, I told you before, I don't have a life, dude. I got a family. They play sports. I got, mortgage and all that stuff. Everything about me is just A&T, right? I love this university. I love what it did for myself, my family. I love what it stands for. I'm passionate about this university, right? So, with this platform that I created, and the main thing about our site, we got a historian in Craig Turner. He knows everything about the football. We got somebody who actually was in the trenches in Doug Brown. But the thing that makes our site great is the community, right? That's why we've been able to exist. There's not that many message boards from the 90s that's still around in 2022, right?
That's true.
Right. We like to, and you go and look at some of their actual like posting counts now. It dropped all the way off. It's like 5 people post, right? We're the only that has a thriving community, right? And the reason for that is it's a true community. It's not just my voice. I'm part of the mix. And what I try to do as one of the leaders of that community is I try to speak things that need to be said, and then I give my honest opinion. I'm not going to be overly negative or overly positive. I'm going to give you my honest opinion because I believe there's someone else out there who has the same feeling or the inverse feeling to what I'm saying. So the reason why after we had that podcast on Wednesday, the first thing I did on Thursday was to go in there and make that post about the band, because I didn't want that to happen under the cloud of darkness. I didn't want people to come back Saturday afternoon and say, how come the band didn't show up? I didn't hear anything about it, because you wouldn't have heard anything about it unless I said something on Thursday. There wouldn't have been this dialogue. It would just been Dr. Ruff decide we're not going to the thing. The band community wouldn't have said anything. We go to the game. We show up like, we're missing somebody. And then maybe this week there would have been a dialogue in response to what happened on Saturday. But what we had on Thursday and Friday, good, bad, and indifferent, that is because it needed to be said. And I learned something. Look, I learned that hurt people, right?
Exactly.
Well, that's what happened. That's what happened. And everybody kind of spoke from their perspective, but I always speak from, number one, a fan's perspective, and not just any fan, the little kid fan perspective, because that's how I started off. And I know my son and a bunch of other kids and everybody else, like you said, the first thing you say is, where's the band? They don't understand that there's a budget or there were decisions being made. And so if you think with that mode that, hey, I got an obligation to be there and to do my part, because it's what Aggies do, right? This is a championship game. And like you said, BJ, that's the first thing I thought about is Dr. Hodge and Chancellor Rennet making it happen. But the bottom line is, we don't care how it gets done. Like, let's work it out later, just like you said, but we got to get it done because it does affect the game. And BJ, I know you were in the band, but you're an athlete too. You come from that cloth, you know how we were raised, and you made a statement to say it shouldn't affect the players in the game. And you know, as a competitor, that part's not true, right? And because not only are you a band member, you are a sports fan.
You know, I have to rock. I got to rock with home. You know, I had to fight for home.
Hey, and I'm fighting with you. I'm fighting with you. I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
When it comes to
listen, BJ.
I'll tell you straight up. Your tweet went out. I got 2 text messages from people that don't text on your site, but they watch your site. They said, "Man, what's up with your boy, the Bone Thriller dude? Man, he tripping." I said,
"Yeah."
So
hey,
I had.
Imagine Doug was in the car with Tiffany riding down there. He's 1/3 of the podcast, a football player, and his sister is the Golden Light director.
Yeah, I feel for Doug.
Those moments happen, but we had that dialogue, and that's why I'm comfortable coming on here and having those conversations because those are normal family conversations. And you know, we scored a big touchdown and get the big pick. You know, we up there. I'm like, T Brown, what we hitting them with right now? He's like, we'd have been playing war. We'd have been playing war.
Yep.
And just like you said, Maxwell, there were times where like, all right, we just scored, got a big pick, let it ride, and then the whole, you know, those things matter. And if you don't think they matter, if you can't see it from an anti standpoint, when you think about Florida State football game, what's the first thing you think about, BJ?
That chop.
Because that's a part of what they do. And that affects those football games. There's no doubt. You go down to Tallahassee and Doak and they get to chopping, right? That's a part of what they do. FAMU, when they let's go Bethune, go Wildcats. All of that is part of their fabric, right?
Yep.
And it literally affects their football games. I told Thriller when A&T for years, when A&T kicks that cadence up to go marching back in the stands after halftime.
Oh yeah,
it's time to go. When they start go, like I don't care where you are, BJ, you know it's time to roll. And when we down in the second half, it's like you marching to a beat, like you a soldier. You're ready to go. And so there's been times when we have home games, not just the home game when the band wasn't there, but when the fans aren't active in the game and it gets quiet, where we do lose that advantage as a team. And the team turns around and they're saying, let's go, let's get up. And there's times when we yelling at the team like, y'all get up. So we're all working on those things. And we know it's a perfect concert at homecoming. We don't have to worry about that. Everything take care of itself at homecoming. Yeah. And there's no doubt homecoming's performance, the band having Chloe that energy on the sideline, that played into the second half of that ball game, right? We came out with some real fire. I was standing on the sideline when the team came back out and they jogging past Chloe and the band and everybody's getting on the sideline. And we talked about having the former players on the sideline. All of that matters, even to a point where it affected the other team's quarterback, right? He's jawing with the people on our sideline. So we got to still work on those things, but everybody has a valid point and a valid opinion. Bottom line, you want to see everybody in all hands on deck at a championship game. But we learned something. We know next time, hey, we might have to maneuver a little different. And, hey, nobody's perfect, right? We all could have had a better season. There were things we could have done to get better.
And that's the one thing we got to remember. I think that we're in a new space. We're not in that HBCU conference where every week we going to see a marching band. So we got to understand that, you know, there's going to be another situation where we're going to play somebody and they're going to say, you can't bring your band. And if they come, they got to pay full price.
BJ, we do it at homecoming.
Exactly. I mean, we've done it before because I've heard it say, oh, man, Howard wants to come to homecoming. How are they coming to homecoming? Because that's 200 seats.
That's it. Maybe.
The athletic department ain't about to leave. And one year they came anyway. I remember they made them sit on the end zone.
Yep.
We went to Bethune. We went to Bethune in 2001 for their homecoming, and they sat us in the end zone.
Yep. That's what Clarence said last week. Yep.
So, you know, these things happen, guys. Like, so I feel like maybe we need to maybe hopefully that the administration and the band and everybody gets together, and the athletic department and the AD can get together and come up with strategies for, you know, some kind of strategic plan for when these things happen.
You know what?
We got to stick together.
You know what? Yeah, I agree with BJ and Maxwell. And I'm gonna let y'all go, but check this out. This is what I'm thinking, because the theme of this show is where do we go from here? And we might think about this and answer this question next week in our final. But we're going to the CAA next year, a new conference. You're not gonna have no band brawls against Delaware and New Hampshire, whoever we play, right? So we're gonna have to figure out, you know, where does the marching machine go from here? Because I don't want this is from the responses I got on this past week. It's almost like some members, I don't know if they have any authority, but some people feel like they need to just almost check out, extract from, the CAA and just do their own independent schedule. It just seems like the machine is getting further and further away from football. And I don't know if the schedule they're going to encounter next year is going to help change that. Do you get that sense?
I don't think so. I think the band is going to stay attached to the football team. Yeah. I think we've got to work on engaging our fans and the band to cheer on the football team. We've got to work on chants. Even if we hire somebody to be like you've been to a baseball game and it's a guy standing on the dugout leading the cheers with the cheerleaders. Like, we've got to get everybody cheering and yelling at the same time and learning when it is appropriate to cheer. Because I saw the videos from the Gardner Webb that's online. Like, the fans were amped.
They were ready.
But they're not amped like that at home.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So what's the difference? Y'all got to go to Bowling Springs to cheer? What's going on? Like, we got to talk about that.
What do you think?
No, I was just saying that all of that's true. I still think it comes down to the chancellor and the AD creating an environment and a culture where those kinds of things are closer to normal and building some relationships with the leaders so that there's not this
pump the brakes. You said the word right there. And we're gonna talk about that. This is gonna have to carry over to next week. I'm gonna let you finish your point. But because hey, you know what, Craig, that's the $1 million word. It's relationships. And that's something that I fear that the two guys you just named, Hilton and Martin, may not be strong in their skill set. They might not be great relationship people. I've already established they're not great communicators. Okay. And if anybody want to disagree, was there any communication this past week when we had a knockdown, drag out war on Twitter? There was nothing from anybody in the leadership capacity to throw that.
What am I supposed to step in and say, though? I do have to ask you.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what, because there's a precedent. Remember back when we played Jacksonville State and we played ECU 2018, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think it was either Craig or Doug. One of those guys came up with this flyer that says silent treatment 30 for 30. The band didn't show up, and there was a picture of Dr. Ruff. You remember this, BJ? It was probably Doug with Photoshop. It was a terrible image, right? So
I remember that.
Everybody was talking about this, getting called out about not showing up. I remember that was actually a press release put out by Student Affairs or somebody about why the machine was not coming to the first two games.
Before
they went down there. Do you remember that, Max? You remember that,
I remember.
Max?
I remember that.
Yep.
Somebody saw what was going on, and they said we need to at least have an official statement to get out in front of this.
And the thing is, the phrase you mentioned was out in front. We react. We are reactionary to things so much.
Yes, sir.
And we're not out in front, and we don't do the kind of planning, and we don't build the kind of relationships that are necessary. A quick story back when I was in the band. Look, I remember one basketball season, we traveled with the football team and the cheerleaders on the same buses the pep band did to Western Carolina. We went in the mountains and tore them up, right? But it was a relationship between all three. We were talking with the team and the cheerleaders and the band, and everybody was having a good time going and coming back. That's a relationship thing.
Relationship. That's the word. All right, Jess, let me let y'all go. And we hopefully next week you guys can jump in for our season finale show. But thanks, Maxwell. I think BJ jumped. Well, thank you so much.
Egg your pride, everybody.
Egg your pride, man. Egg your pride.
Guys.
All right. So let's bring in T. Will. He's been in the Dunes. I see you down there. T. Will, what's going on, bro?
Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing great, man. How you doing? Are you recovered from Saturday yet? You all right?
Honestly, I kind of saw it coming.
Oh, okay.
And everybody that knows me, I told them beginning of the year, everybody was talking about Campbell, but I told them, I said, the team to watch out for was Gardner Webb. And, just before the season, I kind of looked at their schedule, saw who they played, and I felt like they would be ready for us based off the games they had played. I think a lot of people were looking at their record and saying, oh, they're a 5-5 team. But I was like, look, these guys went toe-to-toe with Coastal. They went toe-to-toe with Liberty.
These are FBS teams.
Yes, that have been past couple of years. Look at the success that Liberty has had, Coastal Carolina has had. These are teams that's been in the top 25, and they competed. So, I think a lot of people kind of overlook because Campbell got all the hype with their recruiting class and stuff like that. But I just want to go back. I think the problem really started for me. I don't think we was playing actually good football leading up to this Gardner-Webb game.
Really?
You go back to the Norfolk State game.
Okay.
And we really didn't, in my opinion, play well that game.
49 points though, right? 49 points.
49 points, but I mean, it kind of fools you because you look at it, Tootin barely got, I think he got maybe 107 yards that game, and we had to put him in at the end to make sure he got the record. And I think that game kind of exposed our running game because basically what you do is say, okay, we're going to get penetration at the line. We're going to get penetration with our linebackers, play our receivers one-on-one, because if you think about our passing game, where does most of the passes go?
Outside.
There's no routes in the middle of the field or anything. So I'm going to load the box, keep my linebackers home, and I'm going to make Tootin have to beat me himself. I'm not worried about your wide receivers. The wide receivers were no threat. And I think if you look at the Norfolk State game, they gave the blueprint of how to beat us. And then you go into the Charleston Southern game, that game was 20-10. Now, we didn't really play well that game. Now we go into this game against Gardner-Webb, and we're not playing well. And if you think about this game, we were gifted with the fumble. We scored 7 points.
Yeah, okay.
Tootin got a big run, and there was 60-some yards. You take that away, he only rushes for about 50 yards that game. But if you look at that,
how many carries does he have? I don't know if I think
17.
And it's 17 carries. And Doug, Craig, that game had a feel for it reminded me of Charlotte, of Central and Charlotte. It seemed like Barnett had some stuff on his play sheet that he just didn't get a chance to get to. I think that we, for whatever reason, we didn't have enough creative ways to run the football. And maybe it was Fowler just had a read option.
Down 16 points. After 3 plays, after you've only had 3 plays in the second half.
We were down 18 points at halftime against Campbell. We still ran the ball.
Yeah, and again, we came out, we gave the ball to Tootin to start the second half, right? We had to turn over on possessions. They scored down 6. So I mean, it's not like we didn't try to give them the ball, but at that point in the game, down 16, did you say, all right, let's come establish this run game some more? No, you have to score points. At that point, you knew you were going to have to score 40-plus points to win the ball game. And then it was all just going to happen because you lined out to run the football. You had enough data from the first half to know, man, we're going to have to throw this football a little bit. And that was evident in the play where we backed up to the goal line. Evident in the first play of the ball game, we threw it out wide. They were pretty active up front, and we talked about what they did to stop the run and the pressure they applied. So to say, hey, man, they did a great job stopping the run, but hey, probably need to run it some more. That's there's a reason why we had to resort to passing the football. And newsflash, Mr. Marsh, the areas where we're saying they threw the football are the same areas we throw the football, right? I mean, the same areas.
That's the problem because I mean, we're helping the defense out. We want you to throw the ball down the sideline. We want you to.
They threw it outside and attacked outside areas. They were throwing the slant route. They came across the middle a little bit, but for the most part, they were attacking the edges and running some routes on the outside against our guys. So that's because there's so much traffic on the inside. When you got 7-8 guys inside the box, and even the safeties, they were dabbing down a little low. When they brought pressure up the middle, we dumped it off to the tight end. He had 3 or 4 catches in the second half where we hit him in the middle. But for the most part, it's trouble in the middle when you go across the middle of the football field. It's more space, and you want to take advantage of the space. You want to stretch the defense. Throwing into the Now, granted, it worked for us sometimes, but I don't know if we made a living in the middle of the ball field.
9,000 seats.
All right, so that's a good point. Now listen, T. Will, what did you think about our overall offensive, the scheme for the season? Were you a Barnett fan? Do you think we need to do something different? What was your thoughts on that?
I think Barnett, everybody had him on the hot seat.
Yeah.
And that Campbell game, kind of like, okay, we can deal with Barnett. So if you take away the Campbell game, where would you stand? And I think now everybody.
You can't see my screen, but I get my glass up. But my glass is up. But so that's a good point.
And so I think, up until that Campbell game, everybody had to make their observations. I think everybody kind of had their mind made up. And then we had the Campbell game and came back and won. But like I said, ask yourself the last 2 games of the season against Norfolk, even though we put up 49 points, and then Charleston Southern, do you really think we were playing good football? And be honest. And my answer is no, we were not.
I mean, but even look, if you go back to 2017, some of those games weren't like this, artistic masterpieces. I mean, we've always been a kind of team that made, had penalties and played a little, sloppy at times, but we made plays. And I think our energy and just our fight was always kind of the thing that got us over the top. We never were a clean, just
right. But was it enough to get you over the top against a good Gardner-Webb team that had been battle tested?
Well, in the past, outside 2018, I think that's probably the best schedule that we've had in recent memory. When you talk about, you got an FBS team in ECU and a top 10 FCS team in Jacksonville State, and we beat those guys on the road. So those are legitimate wins. Campbell, everybody thought, Craig, let's be honest. Everybody thought Campbell was the bee's knees right before they went down to Jackson, Mississippi. And now, everybody's forgetting about them. They're talking down on them, but they were supposed to be like, this juggernaut. We beat Campbell.
They got decimated with injuries. Yeah. Between Jackson State and A&T, they stripped them basically of all their weapons, because they had a whole lot of guys go down for the season in those 2 ball games. Those 2 physical ball games, they just got beat up. So probably so at the beginning of the season, Campbell was as good as advertised, but attrition sucked the life out of it, especially off of their defense. Their defense was never the same after they lost those 2 down linemen.
And Craig, they got beat when they went up to Rhode Island to play Bryant. Bryant beat them up when they went down to Gardner. So they had a tough fight. That's why you don't schedule those games like that. But again, guys, we did everything. If you really look at the first half of the game, especially at this point in the game and before the field goal there, we were handling them. We weren't necessarily putting up the points we needed to, but you wouldn't look at this point in the game and say we don't belong or we're not prepared or we're going to lose. Like everything you've seen thus far says that we belong here. I mean, we just got through celebrating and swag surfing or getting ready to celebrate and swag surf. So, we're still. The other thing that guys forget, even a lot of our playmakers. Now we've got those guys on the D line that were seniors, but this was still a really young ball club, man. Really young ball team with guys out there in some really important positions. You look at the whole defense for the most part in the back. Those guys are young, right? And they're still getting some experience. Taquan King is in his 2nd full season at linebacker, right? We're putting a lot on the shoulders. He's a sophomore, right? So those guys, and that's not taking anything away from them. And I mean, the expectation is high. If you're out there, you're supposed to be getting the job done for us. We're that kind of program now. But I think the biggest thing for us is, and we're going to continue to build that, is that layered depth, right? Having good quality depth. Because there's been times before when we had guys and we had good teams, but when guys go down at this point in the season, you got to have somebody else to put in there that is not much.
I think our depth is a lot better because we lost Prunty and we lost McNeil, Amir McNeil, and we still had a strong secondary. I thought for Even Saturday, I thought the guys competed hard. You know, I mean, I pulled this drive up because I want to show you.
Yeah, but it's not the personnel that you expected to have at this time in the spring, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So, well, if we really take a look at what we thought we would have out there, and kind of like you said, that injuries happen, they're part of the game. But I look at, you know, how we recruit. Are we getting better in that end, and are we maintaining? We're fine in that area, right? We have a talented roster. We're going to add more talent.
Yeah. And look at this, guys. So here's Gardner-Webb's first
stadium that's been in existence since the 1960s.
First touchdown.
And off for Nari Gaither, and he has a hole.
You guys see that pretty good? That blurry? Is that all right for you guys?
That's fine.
Okay, and so that was Gaither run up the middle, and I mean, geez, you know, that was kind of a sign that, you know, these guys love to get serious.
1960s. And off for Nari Gaither, and he has a hole.
Dominated in that facet of the game so far.
14-yard gain, 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line. Fisher, pass deflected. He got hit pretty good. And the ball's still alive. The ball is still alive. Gaither picks it up. And
Now that was crazy. And like you say, Doug, you just got to fly around. You can't stop until the whistle. We stopped. They didn't. Big play. Now check this out. So after that play, they get down to the 18, whatever, you know, heads up play by Gaither. He had a good run. They picked up a fumble. Look at how we respond, right? But then look at how they respond to our response. And this, to me, was a pivotal part of the game because they went up. They never trailed again. No, they did trail after the toot and run. But they got their first lead. And just look at this.
Inside the 20. Fumble. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you and I know that when the ball goes forward, it's because the arm is going forward, and it actually be ruled a fumble.
So look at this.
1st and 10 in the red zone, and the ball is dropped. It's Gaither who picks it up.
At the top of the screen, he's got that whole side of the field to himself.
Okay, now look, they didn't play a clean game. After they get that fumble, they fumbled again, and they lose yards, 2nd and 15. And this is where I say I want to ask a question to Craig, Doug, you down here, T. Will. I wonder, do we need to kind of put jump ball you to bed, right? Because look at this route that this kid runs, and I don't know if there's a lot of plays that we run like this.
Top of the screen, he's got that whole side of the field to himself.
Fisher, clean pocket for Haywood to the end zone. Touchdown, Gardner-Webb. This nearly 9.
And Doug, that's just a regular, we call it a bang gate, right? What's that? We call it a skinny post?
Skinny post, but before that play started, the guy originally lined up outside the numbers and lined up wide, right? So
he came in.
We lined up in a scheme, or we lined up in a formation. They made an adjustment, brought the guy in, ran a post route, ran out of outside route, and they hit us with the post. Good play call, good route. If you'll see the top of the end of the play,
yeah,
it's in good position when the ball gets there. Maybe a step off, but I mean that's a tough route to cover. That's a lot of space to cover. And so we did make an adjustment later on in the game. You know, we try to keep the safety back there on the hash a little bit. I think Avarion Cole was down low, kind of inside there close to the box, and may have been helping out on the run, and they took advantage of having one-on-one coverage with no safety help. So that's tough on any corner. And
but I mean, is Zach Leslie running those type of bang gate routes?
We called a play. Burkhalter called a post route later in the game in the second half. A big deep ball when we try to push the ball to score. Same deep post route. So yeah, we run them. We haven't connected on a lot of them.
Right.
Taking some shots, but we were able to connect one. And to Burkhalter's credit, he caught it with his hands. And he had pretty strong hands after the fumble and kept it away from the defender. So kudos to him for making an adjustment and realizing I got to hold on to the football. But made a big play for us when we needed it.
Look, I told everybody yesterday for our game, I said, look, if we win this game, we got to have all the brakes got to fall our way. I said, not only that,
our
receivers will have to win this game. I said, they can't drop any passes. Anything that's catchable, they got to catch. And when the game started off, we got the fumble. We went up 7-zip. I'm like, okay, things are going to go our way today. And then we turned around, we fumbled, gave the ball right back to him. We had another receiver fumble.
We held to a field
goal.
Yeah,
and we held them and stuff. Yeah. So, you know, I just think at the end of the day, I just think that they wanted it more. You know, sometimes it don't come down to execution. To me, it's just that they were more focused on wanting it more. You can want it more, but are you focused on wanting it more? Prime example is on that fumble. Our guy just walked right by the ball.
Yeah.
Their guy, he wanted it more. He said, I'm going to pick this ball up and I'm going to run it in.
Until I hear until they stop me.
Or not.
Yeah, until they stop me. Right.
And that just shows me that we wanted to win, but they were more focused on winning. And that made the difference in the game yesterday.
That's a great point, T. And if you go back and look at the film, like, and I harp all the time about, practicing those good habits. And I don't mean practicing, from a coach's standpoint and harping on, I mean, as a player, practicing good habits, not practicing bad habits. And that's handing the ball to the official, running from on and off the field. Never stop your motor running, right? And on that particular play, the ball came loose. We were still celebrating. We were celebrating with our teammate, but we were celebrating the sack instead of going after the football. And when the football's on the ground in practice, whenever, hey, I'm picking up the football. I'm getting to the football. I joked with you early in the season, Samaj, about when the ball was on the ground on the sideline, and Brick Handler reached out there and picked it up because there was a football on the ground, right? You gotta practice those good habits until the point that they're second nature, and it's not even a thought. Because Nari Gaither, when he saw that football on the ground, and granted he's a smart football player, but it wasn't anything to think about. The ball's on the ground, I'm going to pick it up because that's what I do when the ball's on the ground, right? And all 11 guys, there's some other plays in there where we, like I said, we did a little too much watching, right? We're not conditioned to go. Even when Burke Halter called the post route, he caught the ball and started waving at the guys, come on, hurry, because he had a sense of urgency. And our guys weren't conditioned to say, oh, yeah, we need to hurry up, because we don't hurry up after every single play, right? It should be second nature to be sprinting to the ball when there's a completion. Whether you're running no huddle or not, it should just be second nature that we hustle, right? So a lot of times late in the games when the pressure's on and you got to start doing things that aren't in your nature, that aren't what you've normally done, because you're used to jogging on and off the field, or you're used to walking down to the next play. It's hard to get that motor going and say, all right, now we got to do this. So those are things you can improve. I'm encouraged because the things that we're fussing about, there's still things that we can improve on, right? I can improve on ball security. I can get stronger. I can get better at those things. So hopefully, we learned a lesson. I told Samaj, this game reminded me of the 2014 game against Central, right? It was a game where Tariq Cohen fumbled going into the end zone, I believe.
Yeah, you told me that. Yep.
We were the favorite in that game. We were trying to get over the Central hump. They had beat us the year before, I believe. They had a senior-laden team. They had a good defense, and they beat us. They had a veteran quarterback, Malcolm Bell, and they were able to take advantage of us. And it was a back-and-forth game. In the end, we fumbled going into the end zone to win the game, and I think that was a turning point, not only for our team but for Tariq. I think we matured as a team, and it prepped us going forward. We were able to have some success with, multiple celebration bowls. So hopefully we can use this as a growing point. Losing hurts, right? You want to win all your ball games. But again, we had a successful season, did some really good things down the stretch, and we just wasn't able to pull it off at the end. But always work to do.
All right, T. Will, before we let you go, real quick. So this season's over. We're gonna, next week we'll probably name our Blue Death Valley Blue Death Player of the Year. Probably a few guys you can assume are going to be in the running for that. But overall, how would you just sum up this year? How would you characterize this year for us?
I would say it was a good year. Obviously, the goal was to win the Big South. Yeah. And I think, we can say, it's a good season, but at the end of the day, we didn't meet our goal. And that's just keeping it 100.
Yeah.
It wasn't to go 7-4. It wasn't to all that stuff is good, winning 7 games in a row and stuff like that. But the ultimate goal was to be going to the playoffs, winning the Big South. So I think we just take that and use that as motivation for next year. We got a young team. I think we got a lot of good guys coming back next year. My biggest concern next year is the quarterback play.
Okay.
Even though a lot of people feel that we're loaded there, that's one of my biggest concerns for next year. So
inexperience, and like say the way things worked out, we didn't get those young guys. I mean, we started a redshirt freshman first game of the year, and he maybe got 5 quarters of football when y'all add up for the whole year. So he didn't get a lot of reps.
So yeah, we got our work cut out for us, but I'm pretty sure the guys are, go into the offseason, work hard to come back, spring ball, and be ready for next year, and we'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, Tua, thank you so much for joining us, man. And maybe next week you for our season finale show, you come back and share some more thoughts. But thank you for being a fan and appreciating the podcast. I love hearing from you guys.
All right, man. Y'all have a good night.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. So it's T. Will. All right, we're gonna bring in. Is Charles there? Hold on a second. I don't know if Charles is even there. Charles Hardy, you there? Turn your camera on. I think Charles just checked out. He might be running some errands. All right, so we got Dooms down there. Craig, real quick, man. We're going to the CAA. I'm about to bring you in, Dooms. Hold on. We're going to the CAA next year. CAA just had 5 of its member institutions getting in the win invitations or get invited to the playoffs next week. 5 teams, and we're going into that slaughterhouse next year.
Yeah.
Do we have the right coaching staff for what we're about to encounter? Do we currently have the right coaching staff for what we're about to encounter?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can make the determination until you play. I'm on the fence.
Okay.
I am. I think you have to play it. I don't think I've never liked jumping out, making broad statements and conclusions before the actual event takes place.
Right.
Especially when you start talking about being in the CAA and we're going to be competitive. I heard people talking about yesterday that that's our last chance we're going to see us in a championship situation for the next decade. I heard that yesterday, and I felt like turning around and slapping the crap out of somebody when they said that.
So you go slap somebody, and if he dies, he dies. Craig is hurt.
If he dies, he dies. I mean, that's the way it is. I really get frustrated, and I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to tick off a lot of people, but I really get frustrated with some of our fan base, some of the asinine comments and observations that come along. They're based purely on emotion and not thought out. But that's a discussion for another day, and I'll deal with that with those individuals that I got a problem with. I think we can coach at that level. I think we're gonna have to do some things differently than we've done in the past. But when I look at the CAA and I look at that array of teams in there, those 5 teams were the 5, with the exception of Rhode Island, who didn't make it in. Were the only teams that had a winning record in that conference. All those teams were at the very top of their league.
Oh, there you go.
All those teams, all those 5 teams that came out of the CAA had winning records. The only one that did make it was I think it was Rhode Island. It might have been Maine, but one of them did not make it. That was 7-4, but they lost like last 3 conference games in a row, and so they were they were on the bubble, but they didn't make it in. But the rest of that league, 5-6, 3-8.
Yeah.
So 4-7. So it's very good on the top end with 4 or 5 teams at the very top. Well, I shouldn't say very top, but that are good, consistent programs. They're going to get 7 or 8 wins. But the rest of that league is no better than what we just came out of as far as the Big South is concerned.
Craig, to echo Craig, I mean, we're going to the CAA or whatever they want to call it after next year. We're not going to the SEC. I mean, we've beaten some CAA teams.
Really.
Hell, we beat one this year. Campbell is a future CAA team.
Right.
We've beaten Hampton before that. They got us last time, but we've beaten Hampton, we've beaten Campbell, and we've beaten Elon. So, I mean, I'm not too scared about the guys we're gonna run up against. We kind of prepped ourselves for this league. We've played the big boys of the FCS in North Dakota State. We played the Jacksonville States of the world. So, to me, we've played quality FCS teams. We've played quality FBS teams that are kind of right on the borderline of almost being a FCS team or a former FCS team, as in Appalachian State, Coastal, UNC Charlotte, East Carolina. All those teams, to me, are the quality of a CAA opponent. So you can get out of your way of thinking I'm playing the big bad, big bad conference, then you'll be okay. Now, can you do it throughout the duration of a season? That goes back to having the bodies and having the health, right? And winning the war of attrition. So we've proven that we can play on that level. Can you stay healthy? Do you have the bodies and the nutrition to sustain it? Right?
Can you sustain it? Exactly right. And that will be the question. Can we recruit and retain the necessary players that we need to have to make it through what is probably going to be an 8-game schedule. It's a physical league. Now, I will say this: it is a physical league. But we played Elon for years.
Yeah, we know.
Elon's in the playoffs. We
They're in the playoffs, Craig.
We beat them. But we beat them. We have beaten them more times than they've beaten us.
Yeah.
Right? And we play them head to head. Last time we played them, came down to a last-second field goal. But both teams, it was like a heavyweight championship fight. Both teams were throwing haymakers. We got the last shot in and knocked them out with the 50-yard field goal. So it's not like we're going out there. It's like Doug said, we're not like we're going to play South Dakota State, North Dakota State, Eastern Washington. It's not like you said, it's not like you're playing the SEC schedule where you're going to be playing top 10 teams 7 out of 8 weekends. That's just not the case. I made a post this morning on Fan Forum after looking at some of the comments from yesterday because I wasn't able to look at them until this morning. But when you look at the playoff picture that came out with the selections today, basically if you were 8-3 or 7-14 from one of 3 power conferences, which is the CAA, the Missouri Valley, and the Big Sky, you're in the playoffs.
You're in.
Yep.
You're in. So so we've got to change our mindset and look to we're leaving a league where it's winner take all.
Yeah.
We're moving to a league where there's playoff berths aplenty if you play good football.
Glass half full.
Hey, you can go 9-2 in the SWAC, baby, and be at the house like FAMU.
Hey, so that's glass half full. I got Mr. Glass half empty right here. My best friend, my son's godfather. He's gonna be a house guest. You coming down still this week, bro?
Yeah, we'll be down there sometime Tuesday.
All right. Gotta clean up now. Shit.
Yeah, that's why I got on just to remind you to clean up. What was that question you just asked, Craig? You asked, do we have the staff to compete in the CAA?
Yeah, do we?
No. But I'm not saying no the way you think I'm saying no.
Okay, why not?
How many graduate assistants do we have compared to the average CAA program? What kind of support staff do we have compared to the average CAA program?
I think we still have an outstanding marketing director position that hasn't been filled since.
What kind of academic support do we have as compared to the average CAA program?
Earl, get on the ball, man.
What kind of football field do we have as compared to the average CAA program?
The practice field.
As far as our coaches in and of themselves go, I'm cool with them.
Yeah.
Mr. Brown taught me a lesson, dog. I'm cool with them. You get what you pay for, and you pay for what you get. You know, I've said that for years, and we give these guys hell. They only sticking around for the love of the school at this point. There's no way I would be sticking around with all the crap we give them on the board every week. I mean, can they compete in the CAA? They already have a hand and a half tied behind their back, in my opinion. If by some miracle we give them the $35 million or so support, as far as what I'm thinking in my head would help to sort of catch us up, then maybe they can compete. I don't even think it's fair to expect them to compete.
Is this influx of money supposed to happen anytime soon? Because we heard about that this spring when we went through the whole dog and pony going to CAA.
Supposed to or will. It should have happened years ago.
I think there's the last thing I heard, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, there was supposed to be another plan to have another meeting to have another plan to finally do some type of athletic giving campaign. Is that still on the agenda?
I said it on the board way back when they did that first study back in, what was it, like 2011, 2015, whenever.
Yeah.
Somebody somewhere said, well, the CAA is the best place for you.
Yeah.
Roll out tomorrow and say, we need to start raising money.
You did. You sure did.
But, you know, now here we are. And here we are.
Well, I think the good thing is, I looked at the schedule. There might be a focus group for the next Tuesday. I'm joking. I don't know, man. It's like we can plan the hell out of stuff. We have become this experts at setting an agenda for a plan. We've been planning about this baseball stadium for like the last 5 years. At some point, when are we delivering on all this talk? That's my question.
I knew there was a problem when the chancellor said that, you know, with no concrete plans, said, well, we're planning to raise our budget to $25 million over the next however many years. I said, have you looked at the budgets of these guys? You want to compete against the University of the State of Delaware, or of the state of Rhode Island, or of the state of Maine, or the state of New Hampshire with a $25 million budget. That's what you want to do.
And so somebody says we got spring of 2023 is when something's supposed to happen, and he don't know. So everybody's just throwing out numbers. It's like a catchphrase, you know. Because then we have some type of retreat that we talked about on the board. That was like the board of trustees retreat, and there was this PowerPoint. It had like a whole bunch of misspelled words, so it wasn't finalized, but it was a PowerPoint that somebody got their hand on, and they were about to do something with it. And I ain't heard about that in like 4 months. But
well, when I hear retreat, I think about the CAA. But I guess it's too late now. We in it, so you know you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, man. I watched the game, and I was like, this is like that game against that cesspool up 85 all over again.
It felt like Central.
Don't say that name in my presence, sir.
Sorry.
You know, I just it's deja vu all over again. It was hard, but that being said, I knew going in. I'm from Georgia. When I saw that they hired Trey Lamb, I said, Lamb, I know that name. Because I remember his I think it was his uncle, Coach Furman, and his granddaddy coached his school down in Commerce, Georgia, which I had to pass by on I-85 coming to school and coming back from school every time, and they won like 3 state titles. I think his daddy won a bunch of state titles too.
I know his football family. I know he's got a lot of roots.
And if you think we was just coaching against Trey Lamb, no, that was a family reunion, dog. That was a family reunion. It was going to be rough. Not to mention their quarterback was a record-setting quarterback in the state of Georgia.
I know he's a real deal. Craig, does But what does Sam Washington do when he gets home and he thinks he sits back and he has to admit that a 33-year-old, bested him in the chess match for the Big South Championship? You think that irks him a little bit? Somebody that young? Nah. Not really. Nah. Just football.
No, he doesn't think in those terms. No.
Okay.
No.
Hey, that cat's gonna be coaching Coastal Carolina or Liberty or something else.
Yeah. Next year. Yeah. You're right. You're right, Dooms. Lamb is not going to stay there. If he stays past this year, I'll be surprised. Somebody's going to grab him. But no, Washington's not doing that. He's that's not in his personality to do that.
All right, so Craig, Washington has he signed a 4-year extension beginning of last year. He finished his second year in that extension. He's Dooms, you guesstimate he's probably about 65, 66 years old.
What is he, about 64 or something like that?
So somewhere 62. Around there. 62, okay.
62, 64, 66, 68.
He looks so good young. So I know he's in the 60s because of his age. You think about the years, but he doesn't look it. So he's still I would say a young 60. Yeah. He has 2 Celebration Bowls on his belt. He's probably got some of the most significant wins in A&T history. Even though independent of Broadway. His legacy is established. He's going to be considered one of the great A&T coaches when he leaves here. What do you think his mindset is? I know coming off of yesterday, he's probably still licking his wounds. That was kind of a gut punch, but knowing that he has to take his style of doing chicken and the constraints that we currently have with this, budget into the CAA, which you say it's top heavy, but it's still a lot better than the Big South. What do you think Sam Washington's mindset is right now, as we leave one and go into the next?
Oh, you asking me that question?
That's what anybody wants to talk. That's
well, personnel. He's got position improvement that he's got to make at certain positions on that team. So it's a lot about personnel. You're gonna have to be much better up front if you're going to compete against those top 4 or 5 teams in that league. You're gonna have to be much better up front. First and foremost. Number 2, you got to improve the quarterback play. You've got to find consistent, high quality play at the quarterback position.
Here's the problem, Craig. Here's the problem. You don't know anything about what you got. You still don't know. Like, we went a whole season, crazy enough. At this time last year, what do we say? We got to improve the quarterback position.
We may not know what we got, but
you think he knows?
They know what they got.
You think they know?
The coaching staff knows what they got. They know what they got.
I hope they do, but they haven't seen it.
They know what they got.
They know what they got. And the third thing you're going to have to do, and I learned this from Bill Hayes, defensive backs. You have to recruit high quality defensive backs. And that needs to be a concentration. As you go up the level in college football, the secondaries have to be better. They have to be smarter. They need to be faster. The crux of that defense, the crux of your defense, as far as that secondary is concerned, has to improve. I gotta be honest. Not saying that we were bad this year. I think our new defensive backs coach did a marvelous job of what he had. Up until yesterday, we led the entire conference in interceptions. So there was fundamental improvement there. But I'm talking about quality of personnel has to improve.
Craig, you like Prunty and Harris starting off your corners next year? You like Prunty and Harris?
I thought Aaron Harris played it after he had to come in and take over the Neal spot. Played exceptionally well over the course.
I thought so too. I'm excited about him.
Yeah, I think the kid. Is very aggressive. To me, he's a better cover one-on-one than McNeil. I think McNeil was a much more physical type of corner. He's a guy who was better at run support probably, but I think Harris is probably better at coverage. But that's just my opinion.
Proficient as turning out those tough yards.
Brings a man in motion, hands for Gaither. Gaither got hit in the backfield. He's still able.
Here's that Heron pick. Hopefully that shows up clear for you guys. Hold on.
For the glide forward over the 50. A lot of pressure early. Screenplay. This is set up for the tight end Hirak. He's ripped.
And like you say, Doug, we are playing with our hair on fire right now. Like this is Blue Death defense that you know and love early on that first.
Down.
Getting pressure on Fisher and then also bringing down the ball carrier for a loss.
3rd down and long. Fisher throwing to the far side of the field, and it's intercepted. Cottrell Haywood never saw it. Aaron Harris jumped it, and that's the 2nd turnover already for Gardner Webb.
Y'all see that pretty good?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's Aaron Harris, and he got a pick, and Prunty was out, I guess, with concussion. But both of those guys are still. I think Aaron Harris, he was a redshirt freshman this year, right? So he'll be a sophomore. Prunty will be a sophomore. You talk about upgrading the secondary. We got some young guys. They develop. I mean, you definitely gonna bring in some more guys. And we have Mario Love Jr. I don't know if he is still on the roster. Did he play at all this year? Mario, the guy from North Carolina State. So not much. So he didn't
dress.
He didn't dress. So you might have to still keep searching for some quality depth. But yeah, Dunes, what are you most excited about going forward? Give me some glass half full.
Ain't
right
no,
now.
not my thing. But
That's why they call you Dunes.
one thing I realized about the game was, a lot of people are saying, well, if we didn't have our turnovers, we didn't play our best game, we're forgetting they didn't play their best game either. And that is the scary thought. As far as the question you asked Craig about where Coach might go from here, I mean, my condolences to him. He lost his mother. When I lost my mother, I quit my job. I was on a partner track at a law firm. I quit. I couldn't do it. Now, there's 2 ways you can go, because the lead partner at the firm was like, hey, you quitting your own partner track. He told me when his mother died, he came to work the next day. I was like, that ain't me. Now, Coach, he came right back to work. So he might be the type to bury himself into it, full speed ahead. Yeah. And say, hey, let's get it started. Yeah. And that's the type of guy he strikes me as. But at the same time, I mean, you're 62, you got what you got. Either way, I'm happy if he stays. I'm happy with what he brought us. If he desires to enjoy his life and not have to deal with the cluster bomb that we might be headed into, I honestly would like to see him come in and say, hey, I'm expecting nothing next year. But just like we were able to adapt over the course of this year, I could see the staff, provided they're given some decent support, adapting and learning the CAA.
All right, hey Dooms, let me ask you this: if Hilton and Martin see this podcast and they're like, I'm gonna call their bluff, right? What is something that you could see them doing that would be a good faith gesture to say that they're trying to make support Washington as he makes this transition to the CAA, that he wouldn't have one hand behind his back? What is something you say, okay, well, these guys are at least making an effort to help him out? What do we need that they could give us?
Well, I don't know if it would be anything that we would find out about other than we would all of a sudden see all these additional staff positions. Okay. We'd see a band that showed up at a game.
Boy,
I got a point about that in a minute too.
Okay,
and just a lot of additional staffing, and what do the assistants make? It's about 80 grand a year, all of them.
West Coast Aggie said, I think he found some website, and it wasn't. I think last we looked, Gibbs was the highest paid, and he was associate head coach, and I think he was. I don't want to talk about people's money, but nobody besides Gibbs, nobody besides Washington was at six figures. And
everybody, just based on the past body of work, pretty much everybody should be. But that's my opinion. That's me spending other people's money outside of my $18.91 a month.
Yeah.
A quick question for those who might know.
Yeah.
Is the band responsible for any of its own funding?
Douglas.
I am not sure. I want to say I heard someone say that I know they do their own fundraising. I don't know if they're responsible for their own funding in a total sense.
Yeah. My thought process is if they are required to come up with some of their own funds, like I think some of the coaches have to do fundraising, that sort of thing, then they get a certain level of autonomy in exchange.
Billy, do you know anything about that from your experience?
Yeah, a pretty good idea. The answer would be no. I don't think the band has their own ways of getting their own funding, other than the alumni association, the band alumni association. When it comes to the band getting funding, if the alumni association doesn't have it, I'm not sure where we get it from, really.
Probably Longhorn.
Yeah, am I right, Doug? I don't think, because even back when I marched, back when I was marching to Dr. Hodge, and of course, Dr. Ruff is there now. There were a lot of times, and I think I'm pretty sure Doom is going to touch on this issue in a minute. Is that even back when Doc was there, and I'm pretty sure even Dr. Ruff has this problem as well. As far as getting funding, as far as getting money for the band and for the band budget, it's like Doc had to kind of like pull teeth as far as like trying to get to go to higher ups in the administration to try to get more money for the band program. There's a little known fact. If you would compare our band program to other HBCU band programs, you would look like most folk would laugh at us, to be honest. As far as money wise, even scholarship wise, it's very hard for the band to get money, in the band budget. Hence, that's why, a lot of people wonder why the band's in here, why the band's there. It's literally because the band didn't have enough budget. That's the main reason why the band wasn't there this past Saturday. As long as, the other thing that Gardner Webb, they made it complicated for us as well. I don't know if did you guys hear that Gardner Webb told A&T or told Dr. Ruff or whatever staff, whatever case it may be, if you guys want to come to the band, you guys are gonna have to pay.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
So just the little things like that, the little issues and stuff like that is what the band has always had to face. Whether it's, like I said, was getting band in money in the budget to travel, whether it's getting money. Look at our band room. I mean, everybody knows we've been in the warehouses for the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years, with the exception of Frazier. Where the administration, we as far I know there's a bigger grand plan that the chancellor has, for the whole campus and for everything, right? But coming from me and coming from someone that actually marched in the band, as far as getting money wise, it's like pulling teeth.
But I mean, I think about this. This is my response to that, and I appreciate that, right? But name one entity on campus that probably went parrot the same thing. Like, who feels like they just got so much money, like Scrooge McDuck? Like, you think Coach Hall feels like he just got like money coming out of his ears? Like, everybody is struggling, and I don't like Doom. I want you to chime in. Yeah.
So if everybody is struggling, should we be going to the CAA or the CIAA? Let's keep it real. Which one should we be going to? I had a buddy in law school. He went to T.
Yeah.
He was from Tallahassee. He went to FAMU High, He played the quads in the band. He said he got the T and he talked to Dr. Hodge, and Hodge was like, "I'll give you $500." And he was like, "Please, I ain't finna sit here be doing all this marching in this heat. I could be chasing these girls. I ain't about to spend no time trying to march in no band for no $500." And I was like, I can't say I blame you. You got to love the band to do that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And Dooms, and going along with you made an excellent point, Dooms. In comparison to other HBCUs, say, you know, FAM, like I said, FAM or Norfolk or Bethune, you know, people in Norfolk and Bethune could be like, hey, you know, we can give you $1,000 to march, you know, to play in our band or more. And then most kids would be like, hey, go ahead. But most of the people that march at A&T is, like you said, it's because of the love of it, not necessarily because of scholarship.
And hold on a second, real quick, Billy J. Mr. DM Cash, this is the beautiful thing about the internet, man, and about this podcast. This is a open forum. So let me do this real quick.
I love it. Cash would come on, like
no, for real. There you go, right? Bam. And if you feel as a best spokesperson, why don't you join the conversation? We love to talk to you. I mean, that's definitely how that works, man. It's there's
lots of. Like I said, there's some things that I don't know. There's some things I do know, but there's a lot of things that I don't know behind the scenes, you know. But it's definitely a issue that, you know, needs to be brought up. I think there was some other. I saw another article on Facebook, and it basically touched along those same points or similar points that, you know, in comparison to our, you know, if you compare our band program, right, in comparison to other programs like FAMU, Norfolk, Bethune, right, and their facilities, they're pretty good facilities. But if you look at A&T's facilities, like look at our practice field, like a Dust Bowl. And we, you know, am I right, Doug? We've had that for years. You know, that's nothing new. Keep in mind, this is nothing new. This has been going on for years and years and years, and nothing has never changed. Look at our, you know, where the band practices now, which is basically a warehouse. They used to be in the old Napa building a few years back. That was basically the old Napa house, which is really small. So,
and I understand that.
You get what I'm saying?
I appreciate that. And see, we're going to keep going around in circles here. The main thing is, okay, and this is the same thing that I'm hearing when I beat the drums about the War Memorial Stadium, and we talk about other things at the football. You talk about football staffing, right? Mm-hmm. I hate to say it, and you guys might disagree, but it comes down to one person. Okay, this is not the Galactic Senate, right? This is the Empire, right? And Chancellor Martin is Darth Vader. Okay, he's the last line, the last voice on this. He decided we're going to the CAA. It wasn't Earl Hilton. It wasn't Dooms. It wasn't Craig.
Board of Trustees.
It wasn't the Board of Trustees because they just rubber stamped what he told them to do. Chancellor Martin wanted to put one more bullet point on his Wikipedia page that we are a R1 institution, and he felt that aligning himself with a higher caliber of colleges would help him get that. Okay, that's why we're in the CAA.
So what's the problem?
Okay, and my point is from everything I've seen thus far, we have not done enough to address the reality of the shortfall in resources that we are encountering and will continue to encounter now that we're in the CAA. So
what's been short? The amount of time since we made the announcement saying we're going to the CAA. And Dooms, you pulled me around on this. The fundraising effort has got to be grand, right?
Yes.
But we also know it doesn't happen overnight. And we said early on, can we get through the Big South? Can we close the door on the Big South? That happened yesterday, right? Do you want us to snap our fingers and the stadium be built before January, right? Like, we knew this wasn't going to happen before the season.
Doug,
did you really believe that the baseball stadium renovation was going to be done prior to this baseball season? No, because they said they were not going to be done before this baseball season.
But like I said, there was a study. I don't remember the date. Was it like 2015 or something?
There was a study. I remember
diving
in that
we
thing
should be in the CAA. That was the best, according to Earl. The CAA was the best conference for us.
Right.
Was that 7 years ago?
And he said we're ahead of this due to COVID. We had to make this jump a little earlier than we wanted to. With what happened in the Big South and the dominoes that fell. We know that. But I still feel like the trajectory of the university is still this way. And as long as we're doing this and not doing that, then I'm okay.
I see the trajectory, but my problem is we knew back here when we got the when the study said CAA.
Yeah,
that's when you start.
You're right.
That's when you start.
You did, and I remember you commenting on that.
Because the worst thing can happen is you don't move, and you have a giant influx of cash to work with anyway.
So Billy J, you're the only single person here, right? Everybody here has been happily married for a while, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna tell you something. The main things that when you get married, the main things that cause divorce, right? This study has been shown, right? You know, outside of infidelity, and I know you're loyal guy, right? The main things that cause divorce today is finances, right? Financial problems. Somebody lose a job, whatever. Not enough money, fighting, bickering. Okay, that breaks apart the household. Finances. Okay.
Okay.
What you already saw the craziness that took place on social media when we talked about the band not coming to Bowling Springs, right?
Right. Yeah. I've seen different articles and
right. You saw the feedback. That's a fraction that's only going to get worse the more we continue to struggle and lose and have last place finishes in volleyball, in softball, and baseball, men's basketball. If we go into the CAA, right, and we are struggling and the resources are not there, and we'll keep waiting, like Doug says, for this next planning session before we get there. I think we're going to start seeing a fracture in the A&T family, and the university is on a trajectory right now. But guess what? Part of that, and maybe not all of it, or maybe a small percentage, but part of that is because we had a record success in all our athletics. Okay, we went to the Celebration Bowl 4 out of 5 years. We were on ESPN more than them, Stephen A. Smith. We were the bee's knees. And that's when the enrollment started growing. People like winners, okay?
Right.
And if we go to the CAA and we become a laughing stock, I'm not sure that our brand's not going to take a hit.
I don't believe that Martin, I think he's too much of a competitor to allow us to be a laughing stock.
Winston-Salem State.
He left before that happened.
Exactly.
And trust me, had he stayed, they'd still be wiping the floor with us.
They sure would.
They sure would.
Now that being said, the CAA is kind of a different animal. I got two little points. One's kind of on Martin, the other one's not. The man is a chancellor of a university, and we bring up a lot of stuff that the buck's supposed to stop with him and that sort of thing. Now, during my time in management, I delegated. I'm a chancellor of a university. I ain't worried about whether the band's going to some game this week. I got bigger fish to fry. I guess that kind of segues into my other point. The purported assistant band director said that the kids were tired, didn't want to force them to go down to Boiling Springs.
It was a chore. It was a chore.
University, they wouldn't have been tired. I bet you if that game was at Tennessee State or at Norfolk, or if we was playing that piece of garbage up 85, they wouldn't have been tired.
Dooms. If they got 7 minutes to do a halftime show, they wouldn't have been tired.
Exactly. I bet you the location had a lot to do with the lack of energy, with the purported lack of energy. They would have found money to pay for them tickets, depending on the location. They would have found the energy, depending on the location. They would have had a real funky stand show with no halftime show, depending on location. Boiling Springs. They weren't trying to go to Boiling Springs. I don't blame them. I understand that athletes get hyped off of the band and that sort of thing, but we're in a new reality now. Like y'all was saying earlier, we're gonna see that a lot coming up. So we got to be prepared for it. You're a Division I athlete. If the band don't show up, don't be on Twitter crying about it, because they're just going to make sure that the band is going to be barred from coming week after week after week.
Yeah.
You have got to put on your game face. You think Towson's band is just so hitting that Towson ain't gonna try to come hard when they come down here? You think Richmond's band is top notch? They ain't worried about it. Why are you worried about it? Go out there and play the game. If the band is there, it's a bonus. You got to play for your brothers. And that's just how I feel about it. That's how I raised my boys to play. Block out everything else.
That's good word. That's good word. All right, so guys, we got.
I agree, Dooms. You're right. They were a little tired, and I think before the assistant band director said they were tired. They had some performances that were back-to-back performances. That I can understand.
Who schedules performances?
Who scheduled? Then I don't know. I don't know who scheduled. I don't know. I don't quote me. No, I ain't trying to get in trouble. No, I don't know. I don't know who Dr. Ruff has. I don't know if Dr. Ruff had to say so on that. I don't know.
Okay,
they did have a lot.
Why did he schedule the performances? Was it for recruiting? Was it to raise some money?
There you go.
A lot of reasons. A lot of reasons. Think about it. A lot of guys, a lot of people don't. Yeah, because a lot of people don't know. We just came back from Disney World like not too long ago. Had a performance down there.
That must have been such a chore. That must have been such a chore to go to Disney World.
Right. I know, but that was, once again, that could be in recruiting purposes, exposure, getting our name and our brand out there.
Yeah.
That was, Walt Disney World. You can't get no bigger than that. No bigger than that. And we weren't the only ones. I think and some other HBCUs were there as well. So, Stephen A. Smith was there as well. So, like Doom said, the reasons behind that is more than one, really. Like I said, exposure, recruiting purposes, entertainment value. Like I said, we come to entertain. That's what the band does anyway. We come to play on the show. We come to entertain. Lots of different reasons. So I can understand why they said the band director didn't want to, come there. So but there are other issues and other things that I don't know. But
let me in.
Glenn.
Someone else is in.
Hey, Glenn.
What's up? Man, look, I just figured I'd try to call y'all. It's been long. Now, my wife went to Alcorn State.
Yes, sir.
And they played Jackson State this weekend. So I had to go pick her up from the airport. So I just wanted to holler at you guys.
Okay, so we have to get off here anyway. It's almost been 3 hours. So look here, give me tell me something good like Shaka Khan would say. What's happening, bro? What's your reaction from yesterday?
I paid ESPN to make sure I got the game. My reaction was they just out executed us.
Yeah.
We just needed to be a little bit more disciplined, right? I mean, when you going on someone else's field, you gotta keep the turnovers low. I know that Toon was hurt, and maybe a lot of people don't know that, but Whoa. He really practiced it much this week, so he wasn't 100%. You wouldn't know him, but hey, they play hurt. That's what football players do, right?
Football players do. All right. So there you go. That's a fun fact. So our star running back was not 100%, but nobody is 100%.
Yeah, but I take a lot of positives from what happened. So there's a lot. There's a lot.
Are the younger guys on the team excited about the future, or does everybody feel like the arrows pointing up? Is that the consensus?
Yeah, I know. I too early.
Okay.
I hadn't asked. I'm just just reflecting in terms of where we started, coming to that first game, I had such high expectations. Was a little thrown off by what I seen in the spring that I didn't see, in terms of running game and how we were going to be physical. But then, knocking off 7 in a row, I saw exactly what I expected. Fowler was good. I mean, I think, Fowler was a solid B this year, man. Yeah. And just.
And I actually reached out to Fowler and invited him on the show tonight. He had a prior engagement, but he was really thankful that we invited him, and he might be able to join us on Wednesday if he's I'm not sure what his schedule's like. But we got scheduled once again. We're gonna have one more show this Wednesday night to finish up 2022, the big season finale of Blue Death Inside the Valley. Gonna name the Blue Death.
I'll be on the road. We're driving from Houston to Atlanta because we're gonna meet up with some family for Thanksgiving in Atlanta, and gonna meet our son and have him bus down to Atlanta from Greensboro. So
we'll be safe, man. We definitely you can catch the recording there.
But I love it, man. I love this. Can't wait till the spring. It's up. Oh yeah, it's definitely up. So. I love the knowledge. I love the knowledge this group gave me. So I really appreciate it. Brother Doug always got that inside. Make sure he give us that, the positive side. Because, me and Samaj, we hard on that defense.
Tough on that D. Tough on that D.
That's good, man.
Hey, so look, guys, let's put a pin on this until, because I don't want to go too late. But Craig, give us the last word, man. Give us the last word on the show, and let us know what we need. So we'll be back on Wednesday, but this is for right now. Give us the last word.
Well, it was a good bounce back year after what we went through in 21. It didn't end the way I wanted it to. I don't think it ended the way any Aggie would want it to end, with a loss. But this team stayed together after a tough start. They proved they belong. They made a lot of noise on the way there, and can't help but be proud of what these kids accomplished after the rough start and after all the adversity of 21. And they stayed together, and I think that speaks volumes of them. I think we're going to be, with as many juniors and sophomores that we have and redshirt freshmen coming up next year, I think we're going to have a pretty good ball club. I think A&T fans can rest assured that we're not going to go into the CAA and be a doormat like a lot of people think. A lot of people are trying to portray it to be. I think we'll be competitive, more than competitive, when we hit the ground next fall.
Okay, I can dig it. All right, so guys, for Glenn, Billy J, my main man Dooms. You say you coming down? When you traveling, Dooms?
Tuesday.
You be there Tuesday?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll look out for you, man. I got to go to the grocery store too. Then y'all little family can eat, man.
And them jokers, man, they breaking me.
y'all boys can eat, boy. I tell you. All right, so Dooms, my best friend, and of course, the inside Doug Brown. We're gonna have to do some more film breakdown on Wednesday, Doug. So you let me know. We're gonna have to take a deep dive into this. This is gonna be the last show. So I want to do some X's and O's and see what we have to look forward to 2023. And then of course the president, Craig. And once again, Craig, I know you're a humble dude, but just putting together that whole bus trip, man, and getting everybody down to Bowling Springs safe. And we're gonna put the photo gallery up that Dr. Michael Simmons put up of all the fans at the stadium. It's crazy. I mean, y'all, that was like a sea of gold on that visit side. And I just think about the faces in the photos. Y'all was into it. And how many people you think was on that bus you brought down? What was the head count?
We took a full load down, so it was 51 people on that bus.
51 people.
Yeah, so the bus was packed. We sold out that bus back right after homecoming.
Gotcha.
We're going to be doing them again next fall too. As soon as we get a schedule, we'll sit down and map it out. But my hats off, thanks to Alta Reigns, who's my treasurer. Did a fantastic job. We worked together on getting these bus trips together for this fall. I want to give a shout out to her and to the entire AF chapter. You guys are fantastic, and we'll see you right after Thanksgiving, and we'll start planning for next year.
Definitely. All right, so I am Samaj Marsh. You can I ain't gonna be on Twitter because I got beat up. Doug, get people's man. Doug. Listen.
Yourself, man.
You get that burner account, man. Burner account. Account. That's how you do that.
Go on Trump's thing, man.
Yeah, Truth Social. I need to be on Truth Social because Twitter was kicking my butt last week, man. Them damn folks, man. I underestimate them.
Yeah, we got. Hey, Samaj, I'm gonna try to get some more people on here to really, so we can really get the scoop.
You know what? We're supposed to have a special guest next week, so hopefully her schedule is still free, so she can help us out. She said she's gonna school me on. She has some serious information she wanted to share, so we might have a special guest from the band community next week in our last show.
Okay, I think I know who you're talking about, so I hope she does. Hope she is able to make it.
Yeah. So until then, though, this has been another episode of Blue Death After Dark. And we'll see you on Wednesday for our season finale, Inside the Valley. Till then, Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.